What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3AC. Chapter 51 Odin wakes up, fight upgrade. Advertise here. Hateful, must, kill you. Thor's current anger almost occupied his entire mind, and Mjolnir in his hand began to tremble spontaneously at this time. It felt the wrath of its master Thor, and it wanted to exert all its power. The sky was cloudy, and thunder and lightning swept everything again. Thor is not stupid, he can feel that Lee's power is not right. The opponent definitely didn't show 100% strength, but even so, he was not an opponent. He is playing with himself. Fighting with himself with strength similar to his own, this guy's strength is far from being revealed. In this case, feel the strength of Prince Asgard. With Thor's roar, huge amounts of changes took place in his body. The thunder and lightning were led down by him, and they all surrounded his body, as if wearing lightning armor on his body. Compared with him now, the previous Thor was weaker by several points. This guy is definitely not an ordinary earthling. I don't know how many years he is a monster. Only by taking the initiative to attack. Thor does not believe that an ordinary earthling can cultivate to such a degree. Even among the warriors of the Aesir Protoss, few existences can cultivate to the level of terror within 100 years. Not to mention the extremely short-lived earthlings. Therefore, Lee must be a human being who has long surpassed the level of earthlings. Thor believes that it must be the case. That being the case, you must take the initiative to attack in order to defeat the opponent. Thor is very decisive. He usually doesn't like to use his brain and uses his muscles to solve problems, but he still has a lot of combat experience. When you feel that your strength has reached its peak, you can directly shoot. His speed is very fast, almost as fast as the divine power he possesses, and his body is like lightning. Smashing out with a hammer, violent air waves set off everything around. But Lee is not a little lalo, just waiting for you to attack. In the same way, he punched back with his backhand, touching him. You bastard. Suddenly, Thor, who was still in a difficult battle, was just grateful that he didn't seem to fall below. All of a sudden, he started to roar angrily at Lee. He couldn't believe what he saw. This guy is actually fighting with himself with his eyes closed. So despise yourself, so do not put him in the eyes. This battle is a battle where I have exhausted all my strength, vowed to avenge my companions, and must kill the opponent. The other party actually closed his eyes and fought against himself. What is he doing? Don't mess around at this time. Phil Coulson and others in the distance looked at this place through the telescope. Although I can't see the traces of the two fighting, but I can still see the bodies that stop every time they fight. They also noticed that Lee, who had her eyes closed, became confused one by one. Why are you pretending to be aggressive at this time, and you still close your eyes? Look carefully, he has no reason to put on such a pose at this time, there must be something wrong. Phil Coulson is not stupid. Although Lee has always shown a playful attitude, it is impossible for the strong to do such nonsense in the battle. Therefore, there must be something that he doesn't understand happen to make Lee like this. This guy, what are you doing? Thor, do it, you can't beat him with his eyes closed. You bastard. Asgard, Loki is paralyzed on his throne. He has already lost his strength to control the destroyer with all his strength, and even using the eternal spear has caused him a lot of damage. Fortunately, this weapon is the weapon of Father God Odin, and the other party did not set restrictions on him, otherwise he would not even be able to hold it. Even so, after the defeat of the destroyer, he was also severely injured, and now he can only sit on the throne and look to the left through the earth. By the way, rest and recuperate. When he saw Lee fighting with his eyes closed, he was also a little confused, but what he cared more about was that his elder brother didn't take this opportunity to kill him. This guy, insult Asgard. Do you want to help your brother too? Suddenly, a questioning voice came from behind. Loki froze, and opened his mouth with a difficult smile. Definitely, that's my brother after all. I don't see what you're doing in support of your brother. The voice sounded again. Loki tremblingly stood up from the throne, walked aside and stood obediently. A white-haired old man walked up to the throne, only to see that one of his eyes was wearing a blindfold, and he looked like a one-eyed dragon now like an old man. Sitting directly on the throne with the spear of eternity in one hand. In the next second, his energy were completely revealed, and his old-fashioned appearance completely disappeared. The golden armor covered his body, and the white hair was windless and automatic. Not only did he lose his old look, but the white hair made him look a little more arrogant. God King Odin, awakened. Loki stood obediently, not daring to say anything, no matter how arrogant he was. In front of Odin at this moment, it's better for him to keep a low profile. More importantly, he just made Odin's armor disappear. Tell me about what happened during this time. Odin's voice sounded. Loki swallowed, then lifted his lowered head slightly, and carefully looked at Father God. He found that the other party was not as angry as he imagined, but instead touched the only remaining raven with one hand, with a gentle and casual look, before he dared to speak. Nothing happened. After you suddenly fell into a coma, I took charge of Asgard, and I didn't mess with anything. In addition, I asked the destroyer armor to go to the Earth to talk about it, so as to prevent any anti-skeleton personnel on the Earth from trying to harm Asgard. By the way, I restored my elder brother Thor's power. That's right, my persecution restored Thor's strength. Also, I actually found a guy who was bad for Asgard, his name is Lee, and he is fighting my brother now. Listening to Loki's words, Odin nodded from time to time. Raven on the side leaned beside him, enjoying Odin stroking his feathers. Raven's small head was also stretched out to his ear, whispering something. Earth. Lee. When Odin heard the position of the Earth, he was a little distracted. And the name Lee sounded, making him puzzled again. He doesn't remember that there is a Mefisto, or strong being, named Lee on Earth. Where did it come from? With a movement of his mind, his thoughts extended from the throne, and the only remaining eye shone with golden light, looking at the Earth with his naked eyes. Chapter 52. The attention of all parties becomes the focus. Advertise here. When Odin did this, many eyes on the Earth also opened and looked over. In the supreme dimension, Emperor Wyshan closed his opened eyes again, and a slight smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Ancient One on the opposite side frowned, a little worried. She didn't care about the situation of the Earth. It's Lee. She has seen the timeline of the future, although she cannot see the figure of Lee appearing in the timeline. But in the development of countless timelines, half of the future is terrible, and the entire universe is in flames of war. The remaining half is extremely beautiful. Although there are also countless wars, the Earth has always existed and has become the top cosmic force. Ancient One feels that the only thing that makes all this possible is Lee. Outside the Earth's atmosphere, a gap suddenly opened in the vast universe. A strange gaze looked at the Earth from this crack. That gaze was in another latitude, and he laughed cheerfully when he saw the battle on the Earth. And he seemed to have noticed Odin's gaze, and casually followed his gaze to see Odin sitting inside Asgard, dismissively. HMPH. Odin noticed the gaze, snorted coldly, and blocked the other party's prying eyes, and Asgard instantly resisted the Mephisto's attention. On the surface of the moon, two existences stood here silently. One was an ugly alien looking at the crack. The other is an old man wearing an astronaut helmet and a spacesuit, looking around cheerfully. Ah, didn't we want to interfere? We can't interfere, the alien-looking observer replied. Under the Earth, at a depth of about 6,000 kilometers. The magma here no longer exists, only the core of the Earth is rotating in the center. Countless runes around protect this place. As long as these runes are still there, the Earth will never be destroyed, and the existence of the seal that cannot be seen from the outside cannot find the true center of the Earth. And on the Earth's center rune, an illusory spiritual body slowly condenses and appears. It seems that the appearance of a woman's body is revealed, slowly opening her eyes and looking around the Earth. When her eyes caught sight of Lee who woke her up, she showed a puzzled look. Why, he has the original power of the Earth. I don't know him. Gaia, the goddess of the Earth, one of the ancient Mephistos on the Earth, is a little strange. He actually felt the strong will of the Earth in Lee. And this will seems to be a class higher than myself. It's like being the goddess of the Earth, who is born with powerful power, but it is only the will of this special planet, the Earth, and it is still a lower class to fight against the real four gods in the universe. And the will revealed by the other party is like the Earth that blesses the other party and is the center of the universe. Sithorn, look away. Gaia didn't plan to pursue it if she couldn't figure it out. It's all the blessing of the Earth anyway, so it doesn't matter. She can't control it either. But seeing Sithorn's sight in the sight of detecting the Earth, Gaia said something unhappily. Cut. Sithorn made a disdainful cut in the latitude space, then retracted his gaze and closed his sight just now. If it weren't for the fact that we are all brothers and sisters, and we also have to avoid the pursuit of the Godslayer, how can I care about you? Above Kunlun, the two guards in charge of guarding the huge amounts of the door looked at the other side of the Earth in amazement. They felt that a powerful force was arising. What is interesting is, the power that appeared seems to be able to use the chi, similar to them. And the intensity is too exaggerated, they have never seen what kind of existence can cultivate chi to this scene. Even the immortals, on the other side of the gate they guard cannot do it. Roar. Just when they were thinking about this, there was a huge amounts of roar from inside the door suddenly. They were so shocked that they hurriedly strengthened the door so that the sound was suppressed again. In the world inside the gate, it is peaceful, like a real fairyland, but there is a huge amounts of mountain peak on the ground of this fairyland. There is a cave at the foot of the mountain, in which there is a western fire dragon breathing fire non-stop, as if it felt a strong aura and couldn't help being angry. Damn guy. Thor looked at Lee angrily. This guy actually closed his eyes and fought with himself, so despise him. Even when my father and king are fighting with me, I won't close my eyes. This is simply humiliating. But he didn't know that Lee really didn't underestimate him, he closed his eyes just to verify his strength. In other words, fighting with your eyes closed is the way to respect him. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's true. Because Lee is realizing a powerful technique of his own. Freedom of ultimate intention, the strongest training method he has realized so far in combat. In this realm, he doesn't even need to observe with the naked eye, and he can actively engage in reflexive fighting. No need to think about the brain, to maximize the speed of movement and reaction ability. The angry Thor attacked again, with the power of thunder and lightning, his speed became faster. Every time he moved his strength, he also transferred it to a higher level. Not enough. Even stronger. Not yet. I need more power. Thor keeps improving his power, uninterruptedly trying every means to squeeze his divine power. But there is always an upper limit to this kind of movement, and after finally stopping at a certain stage, his strength has not increased. Instead, relying on the existing strength, he shot Lee. With one hammer, Thor smashed down with all his strength. Boom. It's a pity that Lee still dodged at random, so he avoided it, and then raised his hand to attack at random. The hammer body blocked Lee's blow, and the huge amounts of power made Thor fly backwards for 1,000 kilometers. Flying back again, he shot again. Keep fighting, keep striking. Rumble. Countless fights made Thor's anger higher and higher. With his eyes closed, the opponent actually blocked every attack he made. Is his strength really that powerful? Could it be that Thor is fake? Ah! Angrily, he roared to the sky, venting his inner frustration. Chapter 53 Freedom of Intent, Silver Hair. Advertise here. To feel. Go find your own strength. The voice of the Father God came from Thor's ear, which also made him quieter. Falling into battle again, the two kept fighting, and bursts of explosions exploded in the space around them. You are Thor. Remember your identity, remember your divine power. Thor. No hammer needed. Odin's voice sounded again, once again making Thor's heart firmer. Lee, who closed her eyes, felt a different power. The other party's divine power is changing, as if he is raising his chi. But he didn't care about it when he was trapped in the ultimate method of freedom, but let it improve, and continued to fall into the joy of fighting. He is using Thor as a whetstone to realize his own free will. Believe in yourself. Thor, you are the son of Odin, the future king of Asgard. Suddenly, Thor seemed to see Odin appearing in front of him. The other hand patted him on the shoulder, and Mjolnir disappeared, leaving only his hands. Everything around seemed to be extremely quiet. Thor looked at his hands, and the thunder and lightning were swimming on them. I am, Thor. I am, the god of thunder and lightning. Thor's eyes hardened, he seemed to have found his true self. Thor does not need any hammer to summon thunder and lightning, because he is originally the god of thunder and lightning. In reality, Thor's whole body trembled, and different strengths emanated from his whole body. Looking at Lee, who closed his eyes opposite him, he didn't yell out in anger this time, but instead stared intently at him. Anger was turned into his own power by him. Boom. Suddenly, the aura on Thor's body exploded. A silver-white light appeared in the sky, and the thunder and lightning fell directly on the opponent's body. He didn't feel any discomfort, instead he stepped out calmly. Mjolnir was casually held in his hand with one hand, and approached Lee step by step. Blessed by lightning, he slashed out from every part of his body, and the random lightning and sparks subconsciously turned everything it touched into dust. The most noticeable thing should be Thor's eyes. The whites and pupils of his eyes can't be seen. The white light battle situation completely covered by thunder and lightning, as if his body was cast by lightning. Lee's closed eyes didn't open, but she tilted her head unexpectedly, and perceived Thor opposite. This guy is improving fast. Now the opponent's combat power is almost 10 times higher than before. This is the role of divine power. Just by finding the source of his divine power and controlling his divine power at a deeper level, he has become so powerful. It's really unusual, but Lee was not too surprised, because he knew that Thor originally had the ability. After being ravaged and defeated by Thanos, he was exiled to the universe, and when he woke up, he also found his original power. At that time, with a storm axe, he rushed directly in front of Thanos, causing heavy damage to the opponent. Although Thanos was a little careless at that time, it was indeed an axe that fell on Thanos' shoulder. The ability is really good. The me now is different. After Thor successfully mastered this power, his confidence changed. His subconscious fear of Lee is now completely swept away. Looking at the other party, he even had a feeling that he could strangle him to death. With divine power in hand, Thor only felt that he was stronger than ever before. The feeling of being able to summon thunder and lightning with one hand without relying on a hammer made him excited. This is the strength that Father God has given me. Thor stared intently at Lee, and after opening his arms, thunder and lightning directly poured into his body. At this moment, the tall figure finally showed the real Thor's body, full of explosive power. Lee knew what he was thinking when he saw him like this. You underestimate yourself too much. Although you have mastered divine power, you can't be so defiant. The current Thor is still too immature, and he has just mastered the mentality and experience of fully controlling this power. To put it bluntly, he just broke out, and he is still far from the peak. Crackling. Lightning also appeared around Lee's body. Unlike Thor, his lightning is not lightning, but produced by the friction between his own chi and the matter in the air. To the astonishment, Lee's hair began to change color slowly. From black hair at the beginning, it slowly develops towards silver. The highest level of the free ultimate mind method is unchanged. Only when you have mastered it without change at all is the top. The silver-haired free-spirited law is the first sign, call it a sign. The hair is silver-white lines, Lee's pupils are still black, and he has not yet entered the tone, so he has not yet fully entered this stage. Definitely, it is because he has not fully entered that he will use this stage to fight Thor. If he successfully entered, he would have already killed the opponent with all his strength. Why use him as a whetstone? No distracting thoughts, return to yourself. Lee's heart calmed down. Watching Thor's sudden attack, he moved his steps and body indifferently. Thor moved first. His speed has also increased a bit this time, not reaching the level of teleportation, but it is also so fast that ordinary people can't see it. Bang bang. Lee's movements are also very fast. With a simple sideways move, he dodges his attack and fights casually. The two collided with physical skills from the very beginning. The battle between the two of them covered almost thousands of miles in all directions. Every time the aftermath appeared, it made all the existences around tremble, and it was more of a spiritual fear. Bang bang bang. The physical collision between Aili and Thor came to an end, and the next step is the real all-out attack. Thor will bring the power of thunder and lightning every time he makes a shot. In the sky, non-stop roaring sounded, and the explosions made the mushroom clouds appear. It is no exaggeration to say that the existences who saw this scene began to worry whether their battle would bomb the Earth. Chapter 54 Odin shot, long-range precision strike. Advertise here. What? Just as the battle was entering its climax, Thor was startled suddenly. It was because he realized that the other party seemed to be too casual, and now the other party's speed suddenly accelerated, making him unable to react. When he got all the divine power, he felt that it was easy for him to win the opponent. But after fighting for so long, he realized something was wrong, which made him more serious. But now, his complexion changed again and again. Thor increased his strength again, overloaded to improve his strength. But at this time, tearing air sounds suddenly appeared in my ear. Whoosh. The strong tearing air sounds made Thor subconsciously turn his head to look. It was discovered that Aili appeared beside him at some point, and he volleyed directly with a whip kick. Boom. The huge amounts of strength caused him to fly directly, and the pain made his face ugly. But before he adjusted his posture and wanted to turn around and stop, another tearing air sound sounded. Looking up, Aili, who had just pulled his legs, disappeared at some point. Asshole. He could only curse secretly in his heart and subconsciously wanted to avoid it, but he was completely unable to react. Aili had already waited at the position where he was flying upside down, another whip kick. Thor, who was sent flying again, felt a creepy feeling. You tried your best, but you're still close. Aili's voice is a bit cold. Under the extreme mind method of freedom, although he has not fully entered the stage of omens, he still maintains a state where his mind is as calm as water, and his mind is free of distracting thoughts. So the seemingly emotionless statement made Thor's heart tremble. Boom. With a punch, Thor was directly hit by the punch and fell to the ground. Huge amounts of potholes appeared almost instantaneously, smoke and dust rose everywhere, and a huge pit with a radius of hundreds of meters appeared on the entire land, some of which were bottomless. A qigong wave appeared in Aili's palm, which gushed out directly and smashed into the bottom. Boom. There was another explosion in the huge crater, and it seemed to penetrate the surface layer in an instant, causing a wave of heat to sweep out in an instant. Ahem. In the smoke and dust, a figure flew out of it with difficulty, and then fell to the open space on one side under the pull of the hammer. Thor, who was seriously injured, put his hands on the ground and climbed up. His body was covered with blood. He has almost lost all his fighting power now, and all the strength in his body has been drained. This is what he just did to block Aili's attack. If he hadn't gathered his strength in the end, he might have been beheaded directly. Whoosh. Aili flashed again and arrived in front of Thor, reaching out with one hand, about to grab the other's neck. Thor's eyes tightened. He felt death. This guy wants to kill himself now. He has no intention of showing mercy. Helpless and miserable, Thor didn't understand when the Earthlings became so powerful that he couldn't understand. But at this moment, the opponent who wanted to catch him didn't continue, but stopped in place. Stop. In the sky, a huge amounts of voice appeared, shaking the sky. Immediately following the appearance of a rainbow of 7 colors, the scenery in the sky changed completely. The dark clouds that Thor had just caused all dissipated at this time, and they did not exist at all. Bifrost. Father God. Thor's feeble voice sounded, and he knew it was the Bifrost of Asgard when he saw the iridescent color. And the voice just now was clearly his father's voice, Odin's voice. Sure enough, father is not dead. Damn, Loki is still trying to lie to me. Thor laughed at himself with pain, and then continued to collapse on the ground. He is at ease now. In her opinion, the appearance of Odin means the battle is over. No one can fight with his father, no matter how strong he is. Because Father God is the #1 person in the 9 great god realms, the God King. Thousands of years ago, they led the Asgard warriors to fight for the 9 realms, and even the earth was controlled by them. Aili, even if he is strong, when the Father God appears, the ending is already doomed. Hee. It's your bad luck. Thor looked at Aili standing in front of him, and smiled with difficulty. Enough. Stop here. Odin's voice sounded again, with an incomparably mighty imposing manner. The voice of the other party at this moment appears here, as long as anyone who hears it can't help being shocked. People like Phil Coulson, in particular, feel that their outlook on life has been subverted. Odin is out. That's God King Odin. Are you kidding me? There really are gods in this world. But unexpectedly, Aili didn't respond at all, and his silver hair showed that he was still in the ultimate state of freedom. Calm and peaceful, he ignored Odin at all, turned to look at Thor. His target is the divine power in Thor's body. As for what Odin? It's not bad to come over and stop it by myself, but I want to save people while sitting in Asgard. What a joke. Earthlings. You are provoking Asgard. Odin was furious when he saw that his words were useless. He is the king of gods, but there are many strong men on earth, some of whom are not even weaker than him. But those existences also have to sell him Odin some thin face. Otherwise, how could he have become the god king of the 9 realms back then, including the earth? But you, a cultivator of ordinary people on earth, do have good cultivation skills, but that doesn't mean you can ignore me, Odin. You will be punished. Odin's voice sounded. Whoosh. Just then, the Bifrost in the sky changed. Bifrost is something created by using the space gem when Odin condensed the 9 realms. Integrating into Asgard's divine power, Odin has the power to control Bifrost, and handed over part of the authority to Heimdall by the way. This is a space-twisting teleportation device matched with the colors of the rainbow. Now under Odin's control, the wink began to twist and slowly spin, as if to integrate everything around him. Then in the next second, something shot out from Bifrost. Extremely fast and extremely powerful. Chapter 55 The Curse of Fokeen, Odin's Wrath. Advertise here. The powerful spear pierced the sky, and even the space seemed to be torn apart where it passed. The huge amounts of energy pulled everything apart, and a crack appeared where it passed, which could not be closed for a long time. Eternal Gun. God King Odin's weapon is an absolutely first-class artifact. Back then, Odin used this weapon to fight against the 9 realms. It can be said that he has gone through countless battles. There is endless rune power on it, and the energy storage of magic is also extremely terrifying. Its material is the best that Odin made after traveling in the universe for countless years. There is no doubt that the power of this thing is almost equivalent to the existence of a level universe. Even if another strong person of level universe holds it and knows how to use it, it can fight against the existence of level single universe without losing the wind. Almost in the blink of an eye, the gun of eternity broke through Bifrost's limit in 1 second, and arrived behind Aili in the next second. Odin wanted to punish him for disrespecting the God King. But more precisely, it seemed that he was actually planning to kill him with one blow. After all, if he didn't plan to kill him, he wouldn't be able to use such an existence as the Eternal Spear. The power transmitted from the gun body directly caused the space to vibrate. In the next moment, it will directly pass through Aili's chest and bite him to death here. Thor even saw that the tip of the eternal gun was about to hit Aili successfully. But in the next second, unexpectedly, Aili didn't look back, and didn't make a sound. Obviously he was going to attack Thor, but with his back to the gun of eternity. But he suddenly shifted and moved slightly to the left. No more, no less, just this step. The tip of the gun scraped past his clothes, and even the overflow of energy didn't affect him. Then, one of Aili's hands stretched out, and with just a swing, he grabbed the handle of the gun of eternity. Turn around and turn around. Immediately, the arm lifted the eternal gun, and after the whole person turned around, the eternal gun also twisted along with his movements. Huge amounts of power attacking Aili's arms. For the first time, Aili actually felt an unstoppable force. As expected of God King Odin, in addition to the opponent's original power, there is also a powerful energy, is it divine power? The power of acknowledging the Lord, on top of this is the unbreakable oath of Odin, the spear of eternity. It should also belong to a kind of divine power. The moment he held the gun of eternity, Aili analyzed what he wanted from it. After the powerful force attracted him to grab the handle of the gun, the invisible force dragged him to fly backward, as if he could not stop his progress. This strength surpassed almost all of Aili's previous opponents. Not even Thor's great strength makes him so troublesome. Certainly, the legs sank to the ground with increased strength. Aili let out a loud shout. Under his control, the eternal gun was completely grasped by him this time. Turn around, push hard, throw. The gun of eternity originally carried the power of impact, and this time it is enhanced again. Aili doesn't have divine power to control it, but he only relies on the power of his body to slam on the spear of eternity, forcing it to throw back at a faster speed. Whoosh. The speed like light and shadow exceeds the limit of the naked eye. Breaking through Bifrost's space cleavage, the eternal spear was slammed back by Aili in a state of free will. Asgard, Odin is sitting on his throne looking at the earth. Suddenly, Aili's movement made him stare, his brows raised slightly. The Bifrost space channel in front of him stayed here. After discovering Aili's movements, Odin subconsciously stood up and looked at Bifrost. Really, without waiting too long, there was a powerful vibration in the Bifrost channel. Loki beside him was stunned, and couldn't help taking a step back. He actually felt huge amounts of energy in it, a power that made him dare not look directly at it. Whoosh. The tearing air sounds, and the gun of eternity shoots out from inside, directly impacting on Odin. Same attack method as what Odin did to Aili. The difference is that Odin uses his own weapon, while Aili uses Odin's spear. The same weapon, now turned into the enemy's means of attack. Odin stretched out one hand and held the attacking spear of eternity, making a strange sound. He was a little unable to resist. With a thought, the divine power is applied to the gun. As his own weapon, as long as Odin does this, the spear will stop and be controlled by him. But the strange thing is that he didn't stop this time. The power of the eternal spear was still impacting, and it was not stopped by him. Odin's feet stepped on the ground, and the huge amounts of power actually made his body move backwards, dragging 2 marks on the ground abruptly. Father. Loki wanted to step forward to help when he saw this scene. Snort. But before moving, Odin snorted coldly and increased his strength again. The effect of divine power made his whole body glow with golden light. At this moment, the power of the god King Odin was fully revealed, and there was no such thing as the old look before. Loki was stunned to see his father beside him. Didn't you say that you are already old, and you have to abdicate? Why is it so high profile now? Aili. Odin's voice resounded throughout the halls of Asgard. At the same time, in the Bifrost space on Earth, his voice was also amplified, and everyone could hear him clearly. Why is Father God so angry? Thor was pinned down by Aili on the ground and couldn't move, but he also wondered why Odin was so angry. Even if the weapon is knocked back, it won't be the case. Li, it was you who killed Fu Jin. You have to pay for this. Chapter 56 Soul Castle Special, Angry Li. Advertise here. When Odin held the gun of eternity, he sensed a cursed force. This is the curse he put on his two ravens. Whenever someone hurts them, the curse will be transferred to that person. He will be able to detect each other when he meets him for the first time. Just now, he felt it. He saw the breath of curse on Li's body, he can't be wrong. In this way, the relationship between him and Li is no longer the same temptation as before. This guy must pay the price for what he did. Your raven is spying on me, is there a problem killing him? Li raised his head, his pupils were changing towards silver. The moment his eyeballs completely enter the silver, he will successfully reach the sign stage of the freedom of ultimate intent. With a calm mind and no distractions, Li's whole body's power is under his complete control at this moment, without any waste. You killed Fu Jin. Thor also looked at Li in shock, he hadn't felt it before. Father, kill him. The glory of Asgard shall not be desecrated. I, Thor, will die for battle. I will be reborn in Soul Castle. After Thor learned that Fu Jin was attacked by Li, he knew that the battle was about to enter a fierce stage. This is definitely an endless situation. Because Raven fucking is older than himself, and is Odin's partner, from childhood to adulthood. The relationship between him and Mjolnir is the same. If someone destroys Mjolnir, Thor will never let the enemy go. Soul Castle. Li frowned and looked at Thor. He had forgotten that. Soul Castle is a special place in Asgard. It is the paradise of the Aesir Protoss. It is rumored that the Aesir Protoss who died heroically in the battle will reach the Soul Castle after death, where they will live forever. They will have a banquet here every day, enjoying everything every day, and then after drinking enough, they stand up to each other and start fighting, and then practice their fighting skills. Because this is a dead existence, they died in the Soul Castle again because of the battle, and they will not really die. Instead, it will be resurrected directly, and then start the banquet and continue training. Until one day, when Odin needs them, they will pick up their weapons, walk out from the Soul Castle, and help Odin in the final battle. According to legend, the final battle is Ragnarok. But Li knows that this is not the case in the Marvel Universe. Ragnarok has his own destined future, and they in Soul Castle have not come out, but continue to hide in the universe. Li, you will pay the price. Odin's voice sounded again, awakening Li who was recalling the information. Looking up at Bifrost, Li has no fear at all. Boom. With one kick, his right foot landed on Thor's chest, pinning him to the ground. You wanna die. Seeing Li's actions, Odin became angry again, and dared to be so arrogant at this time. Huge amounts of divine power emerged from Odin, and all the power burst out again. Bifrost also began to tremble, as if unable to support Odin's strength. But in the next second, suddenly bursts of fluctuations appeared over the earth. Huge amounts of something like a protective net appeared, and then blocked Odin's power. Ancient One, it was the earth that touched my bottom line first. Odin's voice sounded again, apparently speaking to the energy protecting seal. But after waiting for a while, the protective net still did not disappear, and no one appeared to explain everything. Snort. Odin guessed that it wasn't Ancient One's attack, but that other people were using the Earth's protection, and after a cold snort, he increased his strength again. Sure enough, the protective net disappeared in the next second, as if unable to resist Odin's power. Sorry, we can't stop it. Seeing this scene, Modu and Wong in the holy place put away their magic power helplessly. They want to block Odin in this way, but they are not Ancient One magicians, and their energy is not enough at all. Odin increased his strength. If they continued to insist, they would probably break the protective seal. That would be more troublesome. I can only give up and pray that Li will be fine. Jumping Beam Joker. Odin looked away from the sky, as if seeing the actions of Wong and others, and said with disdain. If Ancient One came out in person, he might give up, but he is only a holy place magician, not enough. The imposing manner is oppressing Li below, he wants to use this method to frighten Li's courage first. Then if you shoot again, you can easily take it down. And this will also ensure the safety of Thor's life. Once Li can't resist such power, he will give up his approach and dare not touch Thor. But an accident happened. When Odin set his eyes on Li again, he found that there was something wrong with Li's state. How come? Li frowned. His unrestrained extreme intention method also disappeared, and his hair returned to normal black. At this moment, he only felt panic in his heart. Heart palpitations. This is the only feeling he has. Not fear, but an inexplicable pain emerging in my heart. It's like the sudden angina pectoris of ordinary humans, it's hard to stop. Something bad happened. Li's complexion was icy cold, and the strength from all over his body burst out completely, and his energy spread to everything around him, including the whole of New Mexico. A powerful force suppressed everyone, and every living creature felt this strange force, and couldn't help kneeling on the ground, not daring to raise their heads. Thor is the closest, and the feeling is the most obvious. Subconsciously, he lowered his head and didn't dare to look at Li. This guy's aura, how can he be so powerful? Thor's blushing head was somewhat incomprehensible, and the veins popped up on his forehead, so that he could resist a little. But that's it, Li's momentum is still rising. This is his real strength. Thor couldn't help but wonder, the other party had hidden so much before, fighting with himself. Li ignored him and Odin in Bifrost in the sky. Instead, with a move of both hands, the eye of Agamotto on the neck appeared and floated in front of him instantly. Chi began to twist and surround the eye of Agamotto, and the green time energy began to spread, emanating from his body. Lee with his eyes closed is observing everything, he is looking for what makes him so uncomfortable. In the next second, Lee opened his eyes were red and he was full of tyranny, as if he wanted to destroy everything. Damn it! Two characters spit out from Lee's mouth, lightning and thunder flashed instantly, and everything collapsed. Chapter 57 Super Saiyan Realm, Lee's Evolution. Advertise here. Lee before and after is completely different. Thor beside him felt as if he was facing the full fire father god. This guy's strength may be about the same as his father's. Bastard, why does a person on Earth have such great power? Thor is wondering, he doesn't understand. But in the next second, he didn't even have the strength to doubt, and he became unable to think. The huge amounts of power overwhelmed him so much that he couldn't even move. His mind was blank, all he could do was to stare blankly at Lee in front of him. Standing in front of him, lying on the ground himself. Thor only felt that the opponent became extremely tall, as if occupying the entire sky. The colorful colors of Bifrost lost their brilliance in front of the opponent. Obviously the opponent's foot has been stepping on him, making him unable to resist. But at this moment, he seemed to have lost the will to resist, and had an illusion of being willing to surrender. The lightning on Lee's body began to flicker. This is the friction between air and space. Lightning burst out all over his body, and he swam non-stop, surging like a thunder snake. He's more like Thor than Thor is. The sky began to darken, and a large black cloud floated above. The thunder snake churned and wandered non-stop. Boom. In an instant, dozens of thunderbolts fell at the same time, hitting the ground before raising dust. Another thunderbolt fell one after another. As if the scene of the end of the world, everyone can't help but sigh. What happened? Why did Lee suddenly become like this? Everyone who pays attention here starts to wonder. I don't know what made him become like this. Lee. Odin doesn't know either, but he felt that Lee should be aimed at him. But just after Odin finished yelling, he found that Lee ignored him. The green time gem was taken back by him. The eye of Agamotto was back on his neck again. Lee, with only anger left on his face, has long since left the stage of self-contained ultimate method. His mentality can no longer be maintained. Angry Lee at the moment just wants to destroy everything at this moment. There's something wrong with this guy, he's lost his mind. Odin, who observed Lee from a distance, found something wrong and knew that something was biased. Odin stood up and walked directly towards Bifrost, he was going to visit the Earth himself. Even if there are many strong men on the Earth, Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One of Holy Place. The god of the underworld, Sithorn, who split the dimension of the Earth. Earth Goddess Gia, Waishandi, who has always been ambiguous with the Earth. Xion, in the latitude of Kunlun. Each of them is extremely powerful. But for the safety of Thor's life, Odin decided to go there himself. After all, considering your own identity, those existences may not necessarily do anything. And at their stage, profit is the most important. Do it yourself for no reason, not in keeping with these ancient Mefisto practices. As long as they pay enough benefits, they will calm down. Just like thousands of years of Xian himself turning the earth into the 9 gods. As long as he gives enough, everything can be discussed. But Lee is different, this guy is beyond Odin's expectation. Compared with others, this Lee doesn't seem to care about those interests. I don't even want to negotiate, the other party seems to want to fight. This is a fighting maniac. You must go there in person to take down Lee in order to solve all problems. Father God wants to go in person. Loki asked in surprise when he saw Odin leave. Go in person, he hasn't seen Odin do it for years. Today, the opponent is going to the Earth to take down the opponent. At the moment Loki at this moment is extremely well behaved, not as rebellious as before. After all, the power that Odin is displaying now makes Loki very happy, and he is a person who knows how to examine moderation. HMPH. Come back and teach you a lesson. Odin glanced at his youngest son unhappily. If he hadn't messed around with things, he wouldn't have developed to this point at all. Although Lee's target seems to be their Aesir Protoss, Loki's troubles also added fuel to it. Loki shrank his head when he heard this. Already started to think about how to slip away. Stay in Asgard and wait for Odin to deal with the Earthman. I may not have a good time. Odin was startled when he just set off, and looked at Bifrost unexpectedly. Immediately afterwards, a rainbow-colored gaze appeared in his eyes. This is a symbol of his authority over Bifrost. Leaving the throne, he can only use Bifrost's divine power observation alone. The aura emanating from the Bifrost space puzzled him. And what he saw with his eyes made him extremely terrified. On the Earth, Lee only felt that his momentum was still rising, and at the same time, the anger in his heart was also increasing a little bit. No roar, no scream. But his rage just kept stretching. Because he saw something that made him extremely angry. My adoptive mother, Vanessa, and my younger brother, who will also be Vanessa's own son, had an accident just now. There are more and more thunder and lightning between heaven and earth. With Lee's anger, everything began to change. The dark clouds gathered more and more, and slowly stretched directly above them, becoming the entire state of New Mexico. Everything is darkened, the vision of the end of the world makes the sun covered. The appearance of the moonlight, as if the sign of the sun and the moon in the same sky, has attracted countless attention. The whole of America is covered, all dark, is still spreading. North America, South America, Asia. All continents are covered, and all that everyone's naked eyes can see is dark clouds. In an instant, everyone started to panic. Even though there was an emergency broadcast saying that today is a rare total solar eclipse, the reason seemed unconvincing. Because how can there be lightning and thunder during a total solar eclipse, and how can only thunder and lightning walk around in the entire sky, and there is no place that is peaceful when you see it? Then the ocean was covered. Pacific, Atlantic. The tsunami on the sea is set off, the huge waves are raging. The crew members sailing at sea looked confused, they were obviously driving on a generally safe channel. Why is the sea here roaring like it is in the Sargasso Sea, with huge waves, and there is a possibility that the giant ship will run aground at any time? Could it be that the sea god was angry? The world trembled at this time, and a strange atmosphere appeared throughout the earth. Countless people don't know what happened, but everyone understands that something is wrong. In the past, countless people would joke that the scene of their ascension to cross the catastrophe was photographed. No matter which country's post bar or chat site will appear funny. But now it's all gone. Because the huge amounts of coercion is accompanied by the natural pressure of the world, everyone's heart is condensed. Huge amounts of stress make it impossible for them to relax. Just kidding. I don't even have the energy to open my smile, so how can I write fun words on my phone or computer? Huge amounts of lightning walks appear everywhere on the entire planet. Thunderbolts thicker than buildings fell and hit any place. In this scene, there is no reason to fabricate lies to appease the people, because they themselves feel that explanations are meaningless. I can only hope that this scene will pass sooner. What the hell happened? Backquote. Nick Fury also felt the pressure. The whole person is not well, sitting in the office and looking at the scene outside, subconsciously holding a pager. Once something is wrong, press it immediately and let that woman come back. Looking at the cat on the other side, although he was still in a deep sleep, Nick Fury noticed the slightest trembling in the cat's body. It seems to be a little scared. It turns out that Yuan devouring beast also has something to be afraid of. Nick Fury had a hard time amusing himself. Ding ding ding. The phone rang. Nick Fury glanced at the lightning outside. At this time, answering the phone should not be hacked, right? After hesitation, he saw the caller above, and he thought it would be better to get through. Hello, Jin Bin. I need it. An explanation. Nick Fury. Otherwise, believe me, I will make everyone regret what happened today. A serious voice sounded from the other end of the phone. Jin Bing's tone was completely suppressed rage. At this moment, the underground emperor of New York is back. That Jin Bin who used to hang out at the bottom, kill people without blinking an eye, and do anything to improve his status is back. All his good attitudes are based on the safety of his family. And when this reverse scale appears, then everything should pay the price. I'll give you an answer. After a few seconds of silence, Nick Fury gave an answer. After hanging up the phone, Nick Fury immediately contacted his subordinates. He wants to know everything right away. As the chief of the bureau, he knows how powerful Jin Bin's subordinates are. How many lives can he control as an underground emperor in New York? And after contacting Jin Bing a few days ago, he clearly saw the current strength of the other party. That is no longer a simple underworld. It's a strange power. I have some palpitations, but I can't find the source. In the universe, the Earth is just a planet in the corner. And in the space lane in the distant galaxy, a space battleship with huge amounts of is traveling. Thanos on the throne, known as Thanos at the moment, is going to the next identified planet, and he is going to save life on that planet. But a sudden uncomfortable feeling appeared, as if there was a strong pressure suddenly appearing in the universe. But he couldn't find out where it appeared. It is a long distance that has strong people appearing, but it is too far away to find it. Interesting, has another overlord of the universe appeared? Which galaxy's legendary god gained authority, or did some existence transcend? Thanos does not know the specifics, but such a situation is not unheard of. The entire universe is so big, there will always be some strong people born. As long as it doesn't affect your plan, that's enough. This feeling is the planet I have been to. Interesting. On a living planet not too far away from the Earth, there are no humanoid creatures here, but there are many animals with strange shapes. A man at the moment stood up in the image of an animal, then turned into a human and looked towards the direction of the Earth. According to his perception, he discovered that a strong man is being born there. He has been to this planet, and even left a seed. But the problem is that the seed has no special characteristics, until he gave it up and tried to get it back, but he couldn't find it. This incident tells the ontology. It seems that it is necessary to send another duplication to that planet to find a special existence to reproduce. Quote. After the man finished speaking, he looked at a lizard-like creature approaching in the distance. Then with a smile, he began to change shape and became a lizard. Immediately afterwards, he leaned towards the direction the other party came from, slowly opened his arms, and poured the lizard into his arms. Unsuitable scenes began to appear. He wanted to have sex with the lizard and give birth to offspring. This is also the mission of his duplication. Look back to Earth. Li is now in a strange state. His body stood still, and there were more and more lightning bolts all over his body. It was also connected with the lightning and thunder in the sky. Countless thunder and lightning fell and merged with his body. His hair began to change color, slowly turning from black to golden at the beginning. The strange state made Thor, Odin, Loki and others stare, not understanding what happened. They only know that the longer the time since Ilee's hair turns golden yellow, the more powerful his aura will become. The huge amounts of power lead to changes in the huge pit just created by the battle between him and Thor. The magma couldn't be stopped and began to burst out violently, the earth cracked. The lightning actually turned black. Your cell forging method has reached the top, and the limit of S cells has appeared. After breaking through the limit, you have an epiphany. You have comprehended the Super Saiyan training method, close black lens bracket. Super Saiyan training method. The upper limit of S cells has appeared. Powerful S cells cannot continue to phagocytize body cells to evolve. You will improve on the basis of S cells. Strength. Forging new S cells. This will be the road to Super Saiyan cultivation. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Your control over Chi has reached a terrifying level, and the improvement of Chi training method cannot meet your needs. You have an epiphany. You have comprehended the spirit refining method. Close black lens bracket. Spirit refining method. Essence Chi transforms into spirit. The improvement of spiritual power will become your source of strength. The carrier of Chi will become your spiritual power, and the Chi of all things in the world will be under your control. Mental strength. The stronger you are, the stronger your Chi will be. Ilee comprehended a new practice method. But he wasn't surprised at all. Because he has not comprehended for such a long time, these are the comprehensions accumulated slowly. Finally now, when he is about to transform into a Super Saiyan, he broke through the original level. All the exercises that come naturally and comprehend. This is the way it should be. When the S cells slowly slowed down the transformation speed of their own cells, he knew that he had missed the goal. Finally succeeded today, Zhao Dahao advanced. It turns out that anger is really needed to transform. Ilee's anger just now occupied almost all of his mind. When anger replaces all emotions, S cells instantly become stronger. All the power condensed on his body, making him transform successfully. Blonde hair appears. There is no non-mainstream hairstyle like Saiyan in anime, because his hair is not long. But as if it was destined, after the transformation, it still stretched a little, and stood up slightly, but it was not that exaggerated. The divine light in his eyes flashed, and he could see everything clearly, even if it was thousands of meters away. The flow of air seems to be able to be pinched by his hands. With a random wave of your hand, the surrounding air stops instantly. It's not Super Saiyan power, but his mastery over time magic. In the super race state, his control over Chi has gone a step further, reaching a terrifying state. And all the magic that operates relatively with Chi as energy has also been upgraded to a higher level. Diaphragm. Ilee's right fist was clenched tightly, and the sound of squeezing bones and muscles sounded. It is not too exaggerated to use Chi to condense on it. But this simple grip still caused a shock of electric sparks, as if this move caused the space to fluctuate. The strength is more than 50 times that of before. Entering this stage, Ilee guessed that his own strength will be greatly improved. But 50 times. It is definitely an exaggerated value. The previous self can easily defeat Thor. Fight against Odin remotely, and you won't lose too much wind. And now after becoming 50 times stronger. Shin. Ilee has a feeling that can crush everything. With this feeling, it's no wonder that when Kakarot played against Frieza, he turned into a Super Saiyan and dismissed the opponent. The embodiment of strength, the belief of self-confidence. With the blessing of such power, not having enough self-confidence can only mean that you are a trash. This is what exists. Thor under him only felt that he saw a ghost. Chapter 58 Kill Thor, go to Soul Castle. Advertise here. No, even the ghosts are not so exaggerated. Whether it's his father Odin, or Zeus, the owner of the lightning power he admires the most. Would not put such a lot of pressure on him, but now. He trembled. From the opponent, Thor didn't feel any divine power. Some are just explosive power. Divine power is a special energy, whether it is Thor or Odin. Even Zeus. They all have divine power, a special power, the legacy of blood and the power of faith. It is also the power controlled by their predecessors after comprehending some of the fur of the rule, and integrated into the ethnic group. Followed by the power passed down from generation to generation. Ilee is not, the other party is only physically strong, and only the mastery and use of energy. But it is such pure strength that makes Thor even more terrified. Such an existence, if he has divine power, then. How powerful it must be. Thor couldn't imagine that scene, it might have surpassed him too much. While he was thinking about this, suddenly, Ilee turned his head and his eyes fell on him. Thor trembled all over, the look made him terrified. This is the gaze of the strong. Thor can pat his chest and say, if he is facing God the Father, facing Zeus. He even dared to pick up a hammer and yell at the other party, and then fought desperately. To feel the difference between yourself and them. But I don't know why, after seeing Ilee's gaze and feeling the other party's strength. Thor has some. Hesitated. He began to be afraid, from the deepest fear in his heart. This feeling. Shameful. I am Thor. At this moment, Thor suddenly burst into 817's anger. When will he have such a mentality, will tremble because of the strength of the enemy? So he braced his heart firmly, raised his head and glared at Ilee. He wants to show the other side that the Prince of Asgard will never be afraid of an enemy. He wants to let the other party understand how determined the warriors of Asgard are. Boom. Puff. Maybe it's the effect of Thor's eyes, or maybe it's Ilee's preparations. When Thor looked up at him, looking at himself with a dead man look. Eileen directly raised the right foot that had been stepping on the chest. Then slam it. Blood overflowed, and golden blood appeared on Thor's body. The ground directly became torn apart, huge amounts of potholes just appeared. As if the force of the blow had already broken the center of the earth, magma surged out of it directly. Fill the holes that appear directly. Thor's body just floated on the surface of the magma, sinking slowly. No. With one breath, Thor screamed angrily. An unwilling roar resounded throughout the sky. Buzz. One hand pointed at the opponent's corpse. The golden qigong waves in Eileen's palm condensed and shot out and hit the opponent's body. The explosion appeared, and the torn body was completely swallowed by the magma, and was finally completely wiped out. With a wave of his hand, a powerful force was held in Eileen's hand, and then absorbed into his body. Open black lens bracket. You have absorbed the powerful power of Thor, and you have realized the origin of divine power from it. You have an epiphany. You have realized. Lefa, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Lightning law. The power comes from the thunder and lightning, which contains the mastery of the rule of thunder. Step-by-step practice can let you control the thunder and lightning, and become the real god of thunder thoroughly. Close black lens bracket. Eileen feels the changes in herself. The moment Lefa understood, he opened his eyes and stopped paying attention. Now, there are more important things to tackle. Lifting his feet, Eileen looked in a distant direction, and then his body flashed past. The whole person disappeared from the spot, as if he didn't care about everything that happened here. After waiting for him to leave for a while, there was still no change. Phil Coulson and others woke up, sighed from a distance, and then hurriedly brought in and drove over. They're going to put things together here. Clean up here after the war, and take a look at the situation inside the magma by the way. Life is hard, Phil Coulson muttered helplessly. It's not easy to clean up this battlefield, and I don't know how long it will take. Especially here in the magma, I don't know how many people from the department are needed to solve it. The most important thing is to find a reason to announce what happened during the ceremony, otherwise there will definitely be a lot of public opinion. Report. If it is not easy to solve, then teach the leader to solve it. Phil Coulson understands the way of survival very well. Called Nick Fury, only to find that the line was busy. Helpless, he can only ask his subordinates to do it first. Elder brother, Asgard, Loki felt Thor's breath disappear, and he froze in place. The relationship between the two brothers has been very good since childhood, although he has always liked to make trouble. Either assassinate Thor, or trap him. But it is this kind of relationship between you and me, but the relationship between the two is getting deeper and deeper. Even Loki has a sick mind. That is, only he can kill his brother, and no one else can move him. But now, my elder brother is dead. 013408508 Philu 191011271. There is no vitality, and the divine power has dissipated. The disappearance of Thor's power made him understand. My brother Thor really got killed. Thor. Loki couldn't bear the pain, and he fell to his knees on the ground, stunned in disbelief. Thor. Odin also stood here with a gloomy face and murmured the other party's name. It was the cry that woke Loki up and grabbed Odin's pant leg. Ache. Father. Kill him. Kill that human. Damn the people of Midgard, how dare he lay hands on the Prince of Asgard. Must kill him, must avenge Thor, and re-show Asgard's power to the 9 realms. Loki called Odin sentence by sentence, hoping that the other party would make a move. He believes that as long as Odin makes a move, the other party will definitely be a flea who dare not be presumptuous. No one, no being can fight God King Odin. Snort. Odin snorted coldly and didn't answer, but the ugly look on his face was obvious. Go down and kill Eileen. If it was before, he definitely did this, even he just raised his foot just for this. But now, Odin was a little uncertain. The strength that the opponent just showed is too strong. Although there is a level gap between the opponent without divine power and oneself. But Eileen's strength, the opponent's physical strength has greatly surpassed him. Focusing on this point, Odin knew that it was almost impossible for him to kill the other party. Because the two have their own advantages, the other's physical body is too strong, too fast, too powerful. As long as the opponent finds an opportunity, unless he uses a special fighting method, he will not be able to gain the upper hand at all. And that's just one reason. There is one more important thing, which worries him, is the Eye of Agamotto that Eileen just took out. This guy has the Ancient One's treasure, which is the Time Gem. And Eileen will also use. With the presence of the Time Gem, it seems impossible for Odin to kill each other easily. Time Gem. He has a connection with the Ancient One magician, and the Ancient One trusts him. Odin naturally thinks a lot in this position. Before the magician holy place on earth opened the defense to protect the opponent, but it was withdrawn soon. At that time, Odin thought that Ancient One was not there, and the opponent's apprentice mistakenly thought that he was going to attack the earth, so he opened the defense. Then confirm your identity before taking it back. Now it seems that this group of magicians should know Eileen, so they came out of the people. And Ancient One is not on earth. Since that's the case, does Ancient One know that Eileen will do this? Does he have any plans to target Asgard? Now that Asgard is getting closer to Ragnarok, Odin doesn't want any accidents. Trouble if the Ancient One has ideas for Asgard. Therefore, he must confirm these before he can take revenge. One hair affects the whole body. Odin is at this stage now. Lifting his foot, Odin took a step towards Bifrost, walking over step by step. Father God. Loki smiled when he saw this scene. He thought that Odin was planning to go to Earth to kill Aili and avenge his brother. But the next second the smile disappeared. He actually saw Odin turn off Bifrost. I'm going to the Soul Castle. Odin also felt that this action was a bit embarrassing, because he looked extremely powerful in front of his son. Then encountering the enemy but not being able to take revenge, this action must be a bit shameful for Loki to see. But the bigger picture matters, and Odin understands that. After finishing speaking, the elderly Odin was so cool for a rare time, put his finger in his mouth, and a whistle sounded. In the distance, an 8-legged Pegasus is running closer and closer in the sky. Ah, a horse growled, and Sleipnir stopped in front of Odin. Wearing an eagle helmet and gold armor, holding Gingnir, the spear of eternity, the servant who wears the ring of Draupni just got on his horse. You have thought about it here. After speaking to Loki, Pegasus galloped out. Flying in the sky for a while and then gliding, an illusory door appeared in front of it. Odin disappeared in Asgard. Have you thought about it? There's a hint of madness in Loki's eyes. Thinking about it at this time. Why don't you leave? Since Odin can't kill Aili, look for others. He did know a few unusual existences. Thinking of this, Lu immediately stood up and left the hall. Chapter 59. Killing a close relative, a sea of blood and deep hatred. Advertise here. This is. Thor looked at the huge amounts of the door, and was sluggishly going inside. Here he saw many rumored existences. And some Asgard warriors I knew. Soul Castle. Thor didn't expect that he actually came here. Only the Aesir Protoss who died fighting outside can enter the Soul Castle, and they can be regarded as fighting outside. Thor. Suddenly a voice came from behind. Thor turned his head and saw his father. Father God. Thor hurried up, watching the other party riding an 8-legged horse, and immediately looked at Sleipnir. This is a Pegasus, he has always wanted one, but there is no suitable one. Then he froze, watching Father God's unbelievable expression appear. You were also killed by Aili. Presumptuous. Odin cursed with a black face, then got off his horse and stood beside him. Come with me, to meet old friends from the past. Yes. Thor knew he said something wrong, and looked around curiously, while moving his steps. This time is over, I will take you back to Asgard, remember, strengthen your own strength. Yes. Thor was thrilled to hear that he could go back. But my training, can I really beat that Aili, his strength? It's not that he doesn't have confidence, but that the gap between the two sides is too big. He even felt that his upper limit could not be the opponent of Aili at all. The kind of power suppressed in his heart is really unforgettable. Even now, when Thor thinks of Aili standing in front of him, like a real god, he can't help trembling. Don't underestimate yourself, you are my son of Odin. Your strength will never be weak. If you don't have the heart to become stronger, you will never improve in your life. After Odin finished speaking, he brought Thor to the main hall of Soul Castle. A horn sounded, and countless former soul warriors of Asgard approached, and they were all surprised to see Odin and Thor. Banquet. Begin. Odin shouted loudly, and countless drinks and food appeared in an instant. Some of the female tactics drank and ate meat, while others picked up musical instruments and started playing. Here they are free. The banquet was in progress, when someone suddenly picked up a weapon and started a 2-2 battle. Thor, you go too. Yes. Thor couldn't wait. Standing up and stretching out my hand, I wanted to pick up the hammer, and then I remembered that this is a soul castle, and the hammer couldn't get in. I had no choice but to take a weapon next to me and lean forward. The battle here is completely fighting without any scruples. Because their death will only resurrect in place. Thor only felt that he was extremely happy to fight here. And Odin smiled. Thor, who graduated from here, will have a very big change. Sure, change Asgard, when you have a party here and forget all your troubles. The earth is full of trouble. Aili moved instantly and stood in the center of Manhattan Island in New York City. This is not within the scope of Hell's Kitchen, but there are countless gangsters in at the moment. After the dark weather before, everyone knew something was wrong and wanted to stay at home very much. But George Stacy, Gwen's father, had to stand in the cloudy rain. The raincoat on my body can only block part of the rain. He didn't even have time to wipe off the water droplets on his face, he straightened up and focused on the front. On 6th Avenue. This is the widest road in Manhattan. Now it's crowded. All the passers-by subconsciously turned their heads away, not daring to take a step inside. Because there are countless special beings gathered here. On both sides of the avenue are countless police cars, and Stacy is among them. A little further inside, a large number of gangsters are holding weapons such as metal clubs, standing here casually, looking at the police outside. At this time the outer circle. In one point, groups of men in black suits looked towards the center with serious faces. Although they were blocked by the innermost existence, they still did not look away. Everyone has determination and anger on their faces, and what they have on their waists is a pistol. And in their hands, incredible standard weapons, rifles and submachine guns for everyone. Some even carry RPGs directly on their shoulders. This posture, it seems that as long as they give an order, they will turn their heads and walk through the siege of gangsters outside, and open fire on the police. The third layer within it has changed. People here dress a little simpler, without fancy suits and the like. But the guns and weapons are still equipped, but they are not held in their hands, but they are clenching their fists and staring at the front. Boss, do you want to do it? Karen, the assistant in charge of assisting Aili, was standing beside the boss Jin Bing at the moment, and asked aloud. He has already soaked in the medicinal bath, and he is a powerful thug under Jin Bin. By now, he should be a senior member of the gang, very powerful. But facing Jin Bing, he still bowed his head and surrendered without any second thoughts. Peter Parker stood aside blankly and did not move, just looked at Jin and waited for orders. Ai Li asked Jin to train him. Although the time was short, he was still obedient. As the raindrops fell from the sky, Jin Bin just stood there without moving. The heavy rain washed his body, but he just stared blankly at the ground in front of him. A few black umbrellas were propped up to protect the two people on the ground. Vanessa, Ai Li's adoptive mother. Richard Fisk, younger brother of Ai Li, the biological son of Kim and Vanessa. At the moment, Vanessa fell to the ground and covered Fisk's body with her hands. Their bodies were covered with blood. All around, countless dilapidated buildings illustrate how tragic the fighting situation here is. I'll give you another 5 minutes. Jin Bin's hoarse voice appeared. He had screamed in pain just now, and after venting for a while, his throat is now in a bad state. There was no expression on his face, but everyone knew that his words meant that his patience was decreasing a little bit. Immediately, after Jin Bin finished speaking, Nick Fury's voice came from a satellite phone in his hand. Apparently, he was giving notice to Nick Fury. Just today, Jin did not pick up his wife and young son in person. For this reason, he specially asked his subordinates to arrange more people to protect them. Unexpectedly, there was an accident, and both of them fell down here. Vanessa's body was soaked in medicinal baths, she shouldn't have died here. But in order to protect her son Richard, she obviously fell into an ambush trap, and was attacked by powerful weapons, and she couldn't escape. This is a very big pain for Kim Bin. He wants to kill everyone now, anyone who has anything to do with this matter will die. 0. Seeking flowers. Whoever it is, Hydra, Nick Fury. No matter who it is, Jin promises that he will do everything in his power to solve the other party, leaving no one behind. Nick Fury knows he has this ability, because Jin Bin's gang is not the same gang as before. There are many special beings under him, and their power stars surpass human beings. It's all because of that miraculous medicated bath. So Nick Fury has started to transfer information, he needs the perfect answer to appease Jin Bin's anger. He was afraid of gold and went crazy, and then directly came to retaliate against the society. In that case, New York is really over. Just on 6th Avenue alone, thousands of gang members have gathered. There are probably 400 to 500 people with special abilities in the innermost place. This is still part of it, there are some members who have not reached here. Damn fuck, who the hell is it that angered Jin Bing at this time? Nick Fury couldn't help cursing. It's fine. When Jin Bing was about to lose his hold and was about to go completely insane, a voice of greeting and comfort appeared suddenly. Jin Bing was shocked all over, and then he opened his arms and hugged the person who appeared. Ai Li's blonde hair is still maintained, he is still in the Super Saiyan stage. He controlled the power not to interfere with Jin Bin to prevent accidents. Jin hugged Ai Li tightly and hugged this son. The son adopted by an accident was adopted by Vanessa on her own initiative. At that time, they wanted to have a child but failed. It was the child in front of them who changed their family and themselves. You will avenge your mother. Ai Li Fisk. You want to avenge your mother. Jin hugged Ai Li tightly, his arms were trembling, and his body was trembling subconsciously. Even the voice could no longer persist as before, and trembled. Ai Li turned to look at Vanessa and her younger brother on the ground, recalling that night in her mind. She and Jin walked by her side by side. Jin, who was full of mafia bosses, didn't even look at her. And Vanessa, her adoptive mother, can't help but look at his baby with pity. What a poor kid. Could it be that this child was given to me by the Lord hearing my voice? Fisk, how about we adopt him? Look, he's not afraid of you, and he's very curious about you. He's really suitable for our family. From now on, you will be a member of our family. Your mother will be me, Vanessa Fisk. Your father will be him, Wilson Fisk. Thinking of this scene, a smile appeared on the corner of Ai Li's mouth. At that time, the mother was like an angel. On the first day of his crossing, it brought him light. There was also Vanessa's accusation against him and Jin after he got into trouble at school. Although he is not very old, but his strength is similar to that of Superman, pretending to be aggressive. Still cooperating with your father. You do this, Ai Li, how do you make friends at school? Mr. Jin Bin, are you going to be watched by the police every day from today? And that private villa that belongs to her, Vanessa filled it with clothes. Everything represents this woman's attitude towards Ai Li. I will not let mother die. She will stand beside us again. Chapter 60 Time Reversal, Resurrection. Advertise here. You can. Jin couldn't help but let go of his arms and asked him. Even if it was a question, there was no questioning tone. He hoped that what the other party said was not a joke, nor was it to comfort himself. From the bottom of his heart, he thought what Ai Li said was true. It won't die. After Ai Li finished speaking, he looked at the two people on the ground. Jin took a few steps back, only then did he see that Ai Li's state was not right. Both hair color and pupil color are different. He also noticed that the opponent's aura was extremely powerful, but it didn't have any effect on himself or the people around him. He knew that his son had become stronger again. He was so strong that he could not comprehend it long ago. Suddenly, Jin Bing's eyes moved, he had a guess, and hurriedly opened his mouth. Ai Li, don't make a deal with the devil. You told me that. He thought Ai Li was going to make a deal with the devil to revive Vanessa and Richard. Ai Li told him before that demons are not kind. They will fulfill the contract of the transaction, but there are countless traps in the contract, and they will devour your soul. Ai Li was worried that Kim would meet a demon one day, so he told him, and now. 450, won't do it. Ai Li's voice sounded, reassuring Jin Bing. Looking at the bodies of the two in front of him, when Ai Li answered Jin Bing, a golden light flickered in his eyes. His so-called, no way, does not mean that he doesn't know how to make deals, but has another meaning. Raised hands. The eye of Agamotto floated up again, and after the rope was untied, the outermost traps were opened layer by layer. Time Gem showed his strength. The control of Ai Li's energy slowly becomes the source of magic power, which drives Time Gem to flow. The powerful green energy instantly covered the surrounding area, and then compressed on the bodies of Vanessa and Richard. The people holding umbrellas all evacuated back, and were directly kicked off by this energy to retreat subconsciously. Increased the input of mana. Soon Vanessa and Richard on the ground changed. Their bodies began to recover slowly, and the blood on the ground also shrank a little bit, and finally returned to their bodies. The gravel slowly recovered into stones, and then returned to the ground, and everything began to level off. The physical bodies of the two also began to be healthy, from no signs of life to the current heartbeat. Their breathing also began to normalize, their complexions became rosy. Everything seems to be developing in a good place. Until the end, Ai Li stopped urging the Time Gem, and the two stayed there as if they were healthy. Vanessa, Richard. Seeing this scene, Jin Bin saw that Ai Li took back the peculiar item, knowing that it was over. So he stepped forward and squatted down directly, hugging Vanessa in his arms. Feeling the body temperature of Vanessa in his arms, Jin Bin trembled all over. They're really alive and well. Vanessa, Vanessa. Gently calling the other party's name, Jin Bing hardly dared to speak loudly, for fear of disturbing the other party. But after a few calls, the other party still didn't respond at all. Not only him, Richard also remained silent. They only have breathing and heartbeat, and their body temperature is normal. What's going on here? Jin looked at Ai Li strangely, why they were all healed and still didn't wake up. They don't have souls, Ai Li explained. I turned back time and put everything here back to how it was before they got injured. But their souls have already left here, so even though their bodies have recovered, I still need to bring their souls back. Ai Li turned to Jin and explained, speaking as plainly as possible. In this universe the soul is a wonderful thing. After people die, some people's souls are taken away by some Mephistos, such as Satan in hell, or some Mephistos and Mephistos in the latitude of hell. Some souls will be taken away by the real god, death. But most of the eyes of death are some special strong souls, and there are strong people who take the initiative to sacrifice to death. Otherwise, the goddess of death would never take away the soul of an ordinary person in a hurry. Time Gem can indeed reverse time, but most of the reversed objects are dead. Living creatures have souls, which cannot be reversed, because their souls have been taken away by others. Like Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange, like Ancient One Magician. They can all use the Time Gem to reverse time like him, but the ending is the same. There's only one way to do it, and that's Doctor Strange's little trick. First use the Time Gem to set a time point on your body, and then the power of the Time Gem will run after death, and then return to that time point to revive yourself. In this way, his soul will not be taken away, because the moment of his death, the time magic has already been activated. Just kidding, that's what Doctor Strange did when he negotiated terms with Dormammu. Kim understood after hearing his words. Then he carefully picked them up and put them on the push bed that had been prepared earlier. It's okay, there will always be a way. Ai Li, don't be sad. Jin Bing saw the silent Ai Li, thinking that he was annoyed that he failed to save the souls of the two. So he comforted him, as Vanessa's husband, Richard's father. He can in turn comfort Ai Li in this sad time, this action is enough to show how much he attaches to his family. I'm fine. Ai Li shook his head, telling him not to worry. When I went back in time, I saw some information about the enemy, it seems to be a ninja. Ai Li talked about the enemy. It is impossible for Vanessa to be chased and killed for no reason, and to use such a large number of weapons. So there must be something wrong with it, so he glanced at the past timeline by the way. Then I saw that when my mother was attacked, several guys in ninja costumes appeared. They assisted in the attack, even with poison and other means. That's why Vanessa was successfully attacked despite her powerful body being bathed in medicine. Ninja. Jin was a little surprised. He is the Emperor of New York. As the boss of a gang, he is really easy to offend people. But the ninjas didn't meet him, and he didn't have much hatred. The other party shouldn't do such a thing to himself. Ding 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 ding. At this moment, Jin Bin's cell phone rang, and Nick Fury was opposite him. After connecting, the voice of the other party reached the ears of several people here. I found out, the person who did the work should be the one who knows. Nick Fury revealed the identity of the other party. Shuheihui. After repeating the name once, Jin began to recall in his mind. But I don't seem to have any hatred with the other party. Tewakai is a group of ninja killers. Their strength is very strong, and their assassination skills are very powerful. Now it is considered an international organization of killers, the notorious Japanese ninja killer group. Nick Fury was afraid that they would not understand, so he explained the origin of this group of people. Assassin group, did you accept the order and trouble me? Jin Bing's face darkened, who on earth dared to offer such a reward to him? Countless organizations flashed through my head. Finally, Kim thought of an existence that was targeted at him recently. Hydra, said the name through gritted teeth. During this period of time, the other party really pushed him very hard, no matter what, he was targeting him. Sometimes even a formal ultimatum was issued, as if everything was under the control of the other party. Jin Bing dealt with the opponent under pressure, but he didn't expect to do such a thing this time. What Hydra? Jin Bin, what are you talking about? Beep beep. When the phone hung up, Kim ignored Nick Fury. On the other end, Nick Fury saw that the phone was hung up and couldn't help but smash the phone to the ground. The other party said it, definitely said it. I can't get it wrong. Hydra, the name has appeared again. Damn Hydra, it was already like that after the end of WW2, and now it's back. Really an unkillable guy. No, we must sort out the information about them. Nick Fury knew that this matter was not easy, so he must be serious. I was just about to pass on the 5.1 message, but suddenly I was taken aback. Hydra is pervasive, he knows that, if it's troublesome. Sitting down on the chair, Nick Fury began to struggle with his forehead, he didn't know whether he should trust the people around him or not. Natasha Romanoff, you come here. After thinking about it, only those few could believe it, Nick Fury decided to let Natasha Romanoff come over to help first. Shuheihui, I will trouble them. Jin Bin clenched his fists and said. This organization has to pay, and the existence that instructed them must also be eradicated. Hydra, in front of Jin Bing, the underground emperor, he doesn't think the opponent has much advantage. After all, they are street rats now, and they dare not even show their faces. Don't bother, I'll come. Ai Li spoke suddenly, making Jin look at him in surprise. How can I let go of this grudge? Ai Li smiled at Jin Bing. Vanessa, you are wife, also my angel of Ai Li. Chapter 61 Hands and Meetings, no one will be let go. Advertise here. 10 years is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge, that only shows that a gentleman is not strong enough. Ai Li opened his mouth towards Jin, and then his body slowly rose towards the sky. I don't like that. I like to take revenge when I have revenge. I don't want to instigate anything. Kill first and then talk. My murderous nature has become heavier, but Ai Li doesn't think there is any problem. In a universe where the strong are king, killing is everywhere. Those with strength can control life and death, and those without strength can only be controlled by others. And as the killer group, the other party must be prepared to be killed. Be careful, Jin did not dissuade, but said worriedly. Then laugh it off. What are you worried about? The opponent is a killer group, so what if it is stronger? Do you need to worry about Ai Li's strength? Not to mention him, even if Jin Bing went to the other party's headquarters, he didn't think the other party could do anything to him. Because of his strength, he was no longer the little trick Jin Bing who only knew how to fight and relied on his cane ability before. Ai Li Fisk. Outside, George Stacy looked at Ai Li in the air and couldn't help being stunned. Last time the other party suddenly disappeared, what else could he say to cover up the eyes? He also knew how ridiculous the blindfold he said was, but it was something he could really believe, and he couldn't make himself believe that the other party would teleport. All in all, it might as well be acceptable as a cover-up. But this time, the opponent actually flew directly. God. The policeman on the side also saw this scene and couldn't help sighing. What god? This is a fairy. Why? Oh wait. Don't gods fly sideways, only the gods in the east fly standing up. Makes sense. What the FK is this, really god? Can fly. Is it the same as Tony Stark? But Tony Stark is wearing a steel battle suit. New superhero. Did God even care for these gangsters? Damn it. I feel like we're here to police, bastard. Policing a bunch of gangsters. Hee, aren't we? Do you think we dare to fight when we come here? One of them pointed to the gang members in front of him as a gesture. The people around were surrounded by black lines, as if they really didn't dare to make a move. These guys are well equipped with weapons. Jin Bin, Ai Li, what are you guys doing? As the director, George really doesn't understand, he doesn't understand how they became so strong now. Which other gang members don't seem right? By the way, there is also the lizard man he saw just now, damn it, he made trouble in New York a while ago, and he became Jin Bing's subordinate anyway. Is it possible to become gold and destroy the world? Suddenly, the figure of his daughter Gwen flashed across his mind. George thought it might be time for him to talk to her, she must have some inside information. But relying on his daughter to get information, George always felt like a jerk. Thinking of Ai Li calling himself Uncle George, in front of him, Yinji's face turned cold. Damn it, this guy won't really become his son-in-law. No, be careful, Ai Li. Just after Ai Li took off, looking at the direction and preparing to leave. A voice appeared and made him stop. Gwen, it's okay. Ai Li's eyes fell on the Spider-Man at the top of the building. The other party squatted there, with his hands in front of him touching the ground, seeing Ai Li freeze in the air, he took off his headgear. In her position, the people below cannot see her face. Be sure to come back safely. Gwen said a little worried, because she knew that the other party must be out for revenge. Why do I feel like you are setting a flag for me? Ai Li couldn't help laughing out loud. It's like this every time in the movie, I open my mouth worriedly, and then the other party says it's okay, followed by blessings. In the end, he went straight to the street. I really want you to be fine. Gwen puffed up her mouth and said, and then her face turned pale. Sorry, I heard the fighting, but I was late, or Aunt Vanessa wouldn't have. I don't blame you. Speaking of Vanessa, Eileen's eyes became sharper. Even if you stop at this time, they will have a second, third time. As long as you don't frighten them and they don't hurt, you will think you are invincible. Eileen knew that it was impossible to blame Gwen for this kind of thing, so she also comforted her, not wanting her to bear the inexplicable responsibility. Gwen didn't stay long, and Gwen also knew that at the moment was not a time for chatting, so the cobweb ejaculated and swung to other places, and did not send Eileen away. And after he also saw the direction, a puff of energy directly appeared on his body. The air was directly condensed to the point of being visible to the naked eye, as if there were other protective shields around him. Boom. Huge amounts of movement sounded, tearing air sounds instantly shattered the glass of the surrounding buildings. After leaving behind a thing like an air wave, Eileen disappeared in the blink of an eye. Oh, down below, countless gang members couldn't help screaming when they saw this scene. For the first time, the peripheral members knew that their boss, Jin Bin, and the boss's son were so powerful. This is the ability to fly, and the speed of flying out exceeds their comprehension. And the members who knew some core members silently watched the movement of Eileen flying away. Knuckles. After the condensation of chi appears, you can learn this exercise slowly. They are still at the stage of generating chi, but there are also some theoretical knowledge taught to them. This knowledge can only be obtained through rigorous screening. And this is the first time they saw the flight of Wukong and the true strength of Eileen. In addition to admiration and envy in their eyes, there is this firm will to follow. Only such a powerful existence is the leader they have been pursuing. Although they are members of the gang, the boss Jin Bin told them. In the future, they will be Eileen's subordinates, soldiers fighting for hegemony. So when they confirmed the strength of Eileen, they were shocked, and they only had the arrogance to dominate the earth. Although the other party didn't intend to show their strength, it was such inadvertence that made them even more excited. Jin Bing also noticed the attitude of all his subordinates, and he felt a little emotional. Appearing in front of people is indeed the best way to win people's hearts. The tearing air sounds are still going on, Eileen's speed exceeds the speed of sound. He doesn't know how fast, close to the speed of light. It should not be so. According to the legend, time can be reversed or time can be reversed by surpassing the speed of light. This is also reflected in the American comics. The well-known as Superman, and the Flash who always restarts and rewinds. Eileen thinks it is a bit exaggerated. Because he knows very well that when he enters the last few stages, he will definitely be able to surpass the speed of light. But the study of time magic made him discover that the constancy of time is actually a kind of space. Eileen in flight shakes his head, throwing this thought away. I have learned too many things, and I always subconsciously want to prove these things. Don't you know if you can do it when you get to that step? Hand and meeting, don't worry. Eileen looks at the direction and sprints instantly. With teleportation, in fact, he can stand in the sky in the blink of an eye. But he didn't, because he wanted to show all beings himself. What happens when you do something you shouldn't do? He believes that there are many existences paying attention to him now. As he thought in 203, there are indeed countless beings on the entire earth who have observed him. Not to mention the powerful ability users, Ancient One, Sithorn, and even Wenwu, have all discovered the breath and movement of Eileen. The rest, such as the United Nations, US officials, and the World Security Council, are also checking Eileen's movements with the help of satellites. It's not just flight, it's so fast. This guy is exaggerating. The threat is great, we must find a way to control it, otherwise if he. At the World Security Council meeting, a large screen is projecting the action of Eileen's flight. And Alexander Pierce, as the minister of the association, is explaining the strength of Eileen. After all, he is also the top member of S.H.I.E.L.D., the previous S.H.I.E.L.D. director. So he is more familiar with those with special abilities. If you want to control him, you must control Jin Bin. Seeing that his words were recognized by everyone, Pierce smiled. As long as you are human, you will inevitably have weaknesses. And they have identified Eileen's weakness, which is his family. Pierce believes that by mastering the other's family, especially Jin Bin, he can control Eileen. Hydra, always has been. How did he do it without relying on the device to fly directly? Tony Stark was also paying attention to this matter in his seaside villa in New York. After all, how could such a big move by Jin Bin not attract attention? Tony Stark was going nuts when Jarvis beamed images to him via satellite. This goes against common sense of science. Investigate Lifisk immediately. I want all his intelligence information. Tony thought this was an opportunity. If he can understand it, maybe his understanding of science can be upgraded to a higher level. At the same time, the military and officials of the United States also sat at the round table and started an emergency meeting. Chapter 62 Bombing the Neon, sinking directly into the sea. Today's Chapter 12. Advertise here. Hey, Jin Bin, how are you thinking? Jin and his subordinates have already evacuated from 6th Avenue. They are going to headquarters. He wants to preserve and take good care of Vanessa and her son's body, so that no problem can happen. Suddenly received an inexplicable call without caller ID, and the other party laughed as soon as he opened his mouth. You guys did something you shouldn't do. Jin Bing's voice passed coldly, he knew who these people were. Hydra, every time the other party will contact me in this way. No call, no trace, no trace. So what? Why don't you think about the surprise we gave you? How about it? You won't be sad now, will you? The voice from the other end sounded again. Baron Strucker is very happy now, he seems to have seen the medicine bath that is about to come. He likes to study these things, and for this reason, he has set up a current research base in Sokovia. There are a lot of experimental objects imprisoned inside, but this time he received the news that there is such a thing as a medicinal bath, how could he let it go? You will regret it, Hydra. Jin Bin held back his anger and said. Regret? Are you referring to your son Ai Li? Ha ha ha, you let him come to trouble me. Baron Strucker couldn't help laughing, a human being, so what if he is strong? Looking at Ai Li in flight on the screen in front of him, he didn't give a damn. Only the head is the most important, no one can escape his control, as long as the strategy is right, no one is his opponent. Strength. Not to mention whether we can be found or not, so what if we are found, one head will be cut off, and two will grow back. How many people can your son kill? By the time he kills so many enemies, 100 years will have passed. We, Hydra, look forward to your cooperation. Beep beep. Jinin hung up the phone, don't want to listen to his nonsense anymore. Baron Strucker was not angry, he knew that as long as Ai Li went to fight with the enemy. And Gold will submit to himself. Let's make a peace meeting, and then what? There are tens of thousands of killers in the entire hand and society around the world, and there are more than a dozen of their headquarters in the Neon area alone. Each one contains thousands of killers and related personnel. How do you kill Ai Li? Kill them one by one, even if he is exhausted, he will not be able to kill them all. There is still time to trouble yourself with Hydra, and no one can find them. The most interesting thing is, while Ai Li is doing this, it can do many other things, destroy Jinbin, disturb Hell's Kitchen. Even if his son Ai Li has a girlfriend, he can still deal with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's family. Hydra is like this, don't say anything sinister, it's a trick. Baron Strucker laughed and nodded his temples, he thought he was so smart. Looking up at the projection screen on the TV in front of me. Looking at Ai Li who was still flying towards the neon, looking for hands and revenge, he couldn't help shaking his head. A naive existence, thinking that a little power can change the world. Go and kill, there are so many killers in hand, let me kill you, ha ha ha. A reckless man who only relies on brute force. The voice fell, and Lord Straker laughed loudly. Arrive. Ai Li stood above the sky, looking at the island below her. A country of more than 300,000 square kilometers, with a population of over 100 million, I have to say that there are quite a few people in Neon. Relatively, it is also a very distorted country. The war they started once caused an unknown number of deaths. And the rest, young people are like social animals, but old people are abandoned. In such a country, you must be working hard, right? Ai Li suddenly showed a smile, she wanted to do this in her previous life, but it was impossible to achieve. In this life, she never thought that one day she would stand here. After all, his vision has reached the cosmic level, a country is really not worth his special trip. If you want to blame Hand Heihui. The number of people in the hand and society is very large, occupying almost all the positions of the entire Neon Island. From the ordinary people on the outside to the core existence on the inside. You can never imagine how many, even if you are walking on the road, if you become the target of the other party. It is very likely that the old lady crossing the road will stab you in the next second, and then reveal your identity. The other party has only joined hands and clubs. There are countless such existences. In the Marvel universe, Neon is even more exaggerated than in the previous life, their hand and society almost rule the whole country behind their backs. The entire country is based on the spirit of Bushido and joined the hand and society. It may be a bit exaggerated, but there is no way, if you don't write it like this, the following content cannot be reviewed. Hovering in the sky for a long time, the people of the Neon Kingdom are not fools, and soon someone found out, and then notified the higher-ups. Then several helicopters took off and arrived at his side. What are you up to? Hey, who are you? Go away quickly, or you will die. Ai Li didn't talk to a few people. With 5 fingers moving together, he casually condensed Dongdongbo, and then destroyed all these helicopters with a single wave. The citizens below were terrified when they saw this scene, and hurriedly began to dodge. Kami. It's Kami from the New World. The coming of the gods, is to save us. Ha ha ha, come, destroy this world, that's it, give us a new life. Everyone feel the pain, this is retribution, we will become fans, and then be reborn in a new country. Help, call the police, there must be something wrong with this guy. Some of the citizens ran away frantically, while others stood there sluggishly looking at Ai Li. There are also some beings with dull eyes who suddenly became mental after seeing Ai Li, shouting for gods as if in a state of insanity. Some even knelt on the ground crying bitterly, shouting about the new world. Damn, what's the situation? Wait, is it the enemy you have attracted? The Prime Minister at the moment was also taken aback. But he had no choice but to frantically ask for help, and then looked at Hand Heihui, who really controlled the neon, and uttered angrily. Don't worry, Jumping Beam Joker can only use Flight's ability, he won't cause any problems. Several existences from the hand and meeting below replied casually. Use the missiles first. Another person looked at the sky and suggested. No one refused, and soon special infrared missiles appeared on the military base, aiming at Ai Li. Whoosh, shuttle passed at a fast speed, directly blasting towards Ai Li. This time, he intends to directly annihilate him with ashes. HMPH, one person's revenge is so open, he doesn't know how to live or die. The members of the All Hands Peace Association laughed out loud when they saw this scene. They are also rubbish in front of powerful people and missiles. It was as if their two regions were bombed by atomic bombs that year. At that time, they understood that science is the last word, and powerful nuclear weapons can solve all problems. Backquote. Boom. There was an explosion sound, and a burst of smoke and dust was everywhere. The huge amounts of explosion blocked all the things visible to the naked eye around. The citizens stopped after seeing this scene, waiting for the follow-up development. God. Someone looked at Lee worriedly, wanting to see if their god was okay. Ah, he's all right. The smoke and dust dissipated, and Lee's figure appeared. He was not harmed at all, and his clothes were not even stained with dust. The existence of countless teenagers who seemed to want to destroy the world shouted happily when they saw this scene. Some people even shouted that Lord Shenming must change the world and this country. In this scene, Lee stood in the sky and couldn't help pulling the corners of his mouth a few times. It is obvious that you are going to do a very terrible thing that countless people hate. But why do they still seem to be very grateful to themselves? Could it be that the people of the Neon Country couldn't get out because they were trapped in comics and some plots for too many years? Or they also feel desperate for this world? Why is it all right? Why is it all right? Didn't you say that the missiles are all right? Damn it. This guy is not simple. Ordinary missiles are ineffective against her. Intercontinental missiles. I don't believe it. Why don't we just use nuclear weapons? You're crazy, Chen Nuohao. Nuclear weapons. Are you planning to die with me? In the chaotic Imperial Palace, the hands and members of the meeting realized that something was wrong this time, so they began to think of ways. And the Emperor, who was a little shocked, surprised and frightened just now, at the moment, suddenly froze in place, looking at them in front of him. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The sudden laugh made everyone see that it was the Emperor who laughed and started to study himself regardless. Seeing this scene, the Emperor laughed again. As the Emperor, he is basically like a puppet, and this is the first time he has seen these damned guys so flustered. Looking up at Lee in the sky, he suddenly felt that it would be interesting if it ended here. Above the sky, Lee casually blew away the explosion just now. The obstruction of chi made these things completely ineffective against him. Even if he stands here motionless in the super race state. Just the normal wandering chi can make any attack ineffective. Raising his hand, Lee turned on the time gem, and aimed at the neon island below. Afterwards, streaks of green light began to appear, covering the entire island. Chapter 63 Neon Island Sinks, Mefisto Arath. Advertise here. The power of time gem can be said to be endless. This is the item when the universe first appeared, and it is one of the few items produced by the strongest nature. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to destroy half the population of the entire universe with a single snap of the fingers after collecting all the gems. Lee uses the power of time gem to fully cover Neon Island. This time it covers not only islands, but also some existences on the sea, all of which are neon people. These green energies interweave into a net-like thing, and then directly cover it. When people saw this thing, they couldn't help but want to touch it with their hands, but found that there was no response at all. Their contacts are useless. Lee looked at some of them, a little helpless. There are definitely not only neon people here, but also some others, but in the face of big events, some tiny sacrifices are always necessary. If they knew what they wanted to do, they might not blame themselves. After Lee finished the time gem, he turned to climb up. It will soon reach a distance of about 1,000 kilometers from Neon Island. Achievement. Put your hands together around your waist, which is similar to the Kamehei Qigong in Dragon Ball. But the key point of Kamehei Qigong wave is to put hands together once to increase strength. And Lee uses this method to reduce his own strength. His current strength is already at the Super Saiyan stage, 50 times that of the original normal state. A random blow can also destroy a planet. He was worried that if he used his strength too much, he would destroy the Earth, and the joke would become a big one. Wave. Wave appears. Lee's Qigong wave was condensed in an instant, and a ray of light flashed, heading directly towards the ground. 273 huge amounts of Qigong wave is like a missile trailing the tail flame, extending to Lee's hands. Qigong wave. The unbearable energy can almost scorch everything, and nothing can stop it. Boom. Huge amounts of explosions unfold directly at the moment of contact. The ground collapses, the sea water pours in. Neon Island at the moment is like a magnified version of the ruins, completely smashed to pieces. The ground is torn apart, the pieces cannot be put together again. Houses collapsed, all turned into broken walls and broken tiles. The trees of the forest were all sucked into the cracks in the earth, not a single animal was spared. After the ground collapsed, the level of the earth began to drop, and the seawater seemed to have found a new residence at this time, and they all rushed inward. In an instant, the entire Neon Island exploded, those various dangerous objects exploded, and the things in various bases also began to scatter. For the people here, it seems that the end of the universe is coming. How so? Help. I don't want to die. Ah, America sent the atomic bomb again. That's it, Kami of the new world, let them see how dilapidated the world is, and create a new world. How many floors do you need to carry a bag of rice, and how many floors do you need to carry a bag of rice? Everything will be reported, and the time has not yet come. We have finally come to this scene, apologizing for the crimes we put down back then. I'm still a virgin. Ozawa, Fujiwara, Kurai, see you in the next life. I can die, but my cash can't die. Don't worry, I will scare you. No. Before I die, please clear my browsing history. Hitch. Everyone is howling. Some are happy, some are excited, some are annoyed, some are frightened. All kinds of people exist here, but in the next second, their voices slowly dissipate. Because the huge amounts of power almost completely destroyed the entire island. The last remaining traces were also buried by seawater. How could this be? This fellow. Hydra Baron Strucker dared not move his hand holding the goblet. Looking at the neon pictures on the screen, he was full of confusion. He originally thought that the other party would kill the quartet on the neon streets, and then wrestle with others. In the end, there was a conflict with the local military, and he persisted in the death-to-death battle for a long time. Even if he won in the end, he was still covered in injuries. But what is this now? What is this? What about filming? Subconsciously, he picked up the remote control in his hand and directly dialed a channel, and then another satellite put in the picture. Still like this. This guy, isn't he human? Baron Strucker at the moment I don't know what to say at the moment. Thinking of what he said to threaten Jin Bing, he couldn't help swallowing. Could the other party really not find him? If found, can you stop yourself? Can we really threaten this? At the World Security Council meeting, several UN presences watched the video, and looked at Pierce with some incomprehension. Alexander Pierce also stood there in a daze, which was different from what he thought. How to fight this? Missiles can't kill them, and the opponent can sink the neon with one hit. This. Water fake. Tony Stark directly sprayed the red wine on the TV, and then hurriedly let the robot wipe it. Once hit the sinking island, this guy seems to be relaxed. This is AF King Monster. No matter how powerful his weapon is, it won't be able to hit it like this in one blow. This is already something beyond the scope of weapons. Star weapon. Maybe it can be done. Or increase the yield of the atomic bomb. It seems to be okay, but the sequelae are too serious, unlike the other party. Just hit it. Today, the neon suddenly exploded violently. According to the situation at the scene, it should be a sign of a large subsidence caused by the earthquake. At present, the entire neon island has been completely buried by the ocean. According to the current situation, more than 100 million people on Neon Island may have all died. Let us express our condolences for their situation. I am reporter Bingbing, and I will report for you from the front. In Dongfang, the commercials suddenly inserted by the TV station made everyone who watched the TV stunned. In fact, many cities by the sea have noticed huge amounts of explosions and sea waves, which can still be seen from such a distance. The inland one stared at the TV at a loss. Ah, it's gone. No, if this is the case, can 91 be legal in China? I don't want to see it. What are you afraid of? There's also the Cunt Guide series, and by the way, the Gone with the Wind series. Anyway, it's a pity. This earthquake, at least they were brought in during the earthquake. So many died. Hell Latitude. Mefisto, who was in charge of accepting the souls of the earth, is wandering around. He just took back a few souls, and he was a little timid. Being in the latitude of hell, this vastness is boundless, almost similar to the real universe. Correspondingly, there will be many big bosses, such as Satan, Lucifer, Mefisto, and Yama of the East, all have a place here. So when you harvest souls, you also look at the path. She just happened to receive a few this time, which was considered lucky. I wanted to return to the latitude of hell completely, but suddenly Mefisto was shocked, and felt a powerful soul breath appearing on the earth. This smell is strange. How many people died? One-time death exceeds a certain number. If he gets it, it will definitely improve his strength a lot. There are also risks, that is, in most cases where there are too many deaths, other people will stare at them, and then everyone will do it, each according to his own ability. Hey, I'm not going to be polite this time. Coincidentally, Mefisto has not yet fully entered the hell latitude. So it is just right for him to turn around and go to the earth now. When other people receive the news inside hell, he has finished collecting souls. Cheerfully heading towards the earth, Mefisto recognized the direction, and saw the tragic neon scene in an instant. Ah, it's actually neon. The souls of the people here are not good. Some unhappy opening, even Mefisto dislikes, can only say that they are really not doing well. But it's still a soul anyway, so don't let it be in vain. After Mefisto approached the neon, he was ready to take these souls away. More than 100 million. This performance can be obtained, and it is more satisfying than the World War II countless years ago. But when Mefisto was absorbing it, he was startled suddenly. His own soul absorption was actually ineffective, as if it was blocked. Reverse. It turned out that at this time, Li in the sky suddenly moved his hands, and the time gem turned. Then the neon island flooded by seawater began to reappear, the houses returned to their original state, and the cracking of the earth began to heal. Until the end, the whole neon actually turned into the way nothing happened. Mefisto looked at this scene strangely. Why? I don't want to go with myself these years, have I developed to such a state? Qigong wave. In the next second, Li used Qigong wave again. After experiencing an explosion, Neon Island dissipated and was destroyed again. Mefisto perceived the appearance of the soul again, and hurriedly prepared to accept it. Then, the time gem turns, snaps back up again, and they're all alive again. Qigong wave. Rod, are you there? Come here, I'll show you God. Tony Stark looked at the projector with dull eyes, and called General Rhodes and said, I'm watching. Li was revived again, and then again people were revived. Qigong. Enough is enough. Mefisto couldn't bear it anymore, and jumped out and shouted at Ai Li. This guy, every time someone dies, he gets excited, and then he is resurrected. Is this guy playing himself on purpose? He wants to see who dares play him like this. Mefisto. Look up at each other. Click. Mefisto frowned. He found that something seemed wrong. Why can't we find out the strength of this guy? Chapter 64. Mefisto and Satan go out together. Hell comes. Advertise here. Ai Li looked at the guy who jumped out with interest. He just discovered that someone is looking at this side, not an ordinary person, but a slightly stronger existence. And what he hangs is an existence like Mefisto. With a population of more than 100 million souls, Ai Li does not believe that there are a few soul harvesters who would be willing to give up. Ai Li, Fisk, a person from Earth. Ai Li smiled at the other party. Seeing that Ai Li is so polite, Mefisto was also taken aback, then coughed. He supported his suit with both hands, and after smoothing it out, the crutches instantly appeared on the ground created by the air. Mefisto. It turned out to be the famous Lord of Hell. Mefisto, I have long admired you. Ai Li is even more happy to hear this name. What are you doing? Why are you making fun of people's lives? Seeing Ai Li's attitude, Mefisto showed his own demeanor and asked with a smile. Definitely, part of the reason is that he sees that Ai Li's strength is not simple, and it is more appropriate to correct his attitude. It's a lot for their existence to fight over a disagreement. How can you be kidding? I'm kidding. What? Ahem, it's nothing, I just want to make a deal with you. Ai Li retracted the words, and just accidentally told the truth. What deal? You take the souls of these people away, and I want you to exchange the souls of two people. Who? One named Vanessa, one named Richard Fisk, died on 6th Avenue in Manhattan Island, New York. Listening to Ai Li's words, Mefisto was silent for a few seconds, then stared at the other party for a while. Suddenly smiled. It's a good deal. 2 souls for more than 100 million, it's worth it. 2 souls, Mefisto remembers these two, mother and child. Moreover, the physical strength of these two people is good, and it seems that their soul power is also relatively strong, so he received it personally. The other party actually exchanged the souls of so many people for these two. If there is no accident, it must be related, and at least it is the stage of close relatives. When Mefisto was thinking, he suddenly showed a very authentic smile. No problem. But we like to do things by contract. Ai Li doesn't think there is any problem, the existence of hell likes to play this game. As is Satan, so is Mefisto. I don't know who learned it from whom, there's one who takes the lead, and everyone likes to play like this. But in comparison, they are better than those of God. After all, God is all about verbal promises. Sign it. Without much effort, Mefisto took out a piece of parchment. Ai Li took it over and took a look, the writing was fine. Exchange the souls of Richard Fisk and Vanessa with the souls of more than 100 million people in Neon Island. There are soul imprints on the names of these two people, Ai Li can perceive that it is true. That being the case, it also shows that the souls of the two Vanessa are in the hands of Mefisto, and there is no need to go to other lords to find them. With a wave of his hand, Ai Li signed his name, and on the other signature, Mefisto's name was written. Happy cooperation. Next, it's up to you to play. When Mefisto saw him write his name, he had a big smile and a small face, very funny. As soon as Ai Li raised his hand, the Qigong wave condensed again, blasting towards the Neon Island below. People here are already somewhat decadent and silent. They are used to this kind of sudden destruction, and have experienced life and death several times, as if they had no desires and desires. They just looked at the Qigong bombs thrown from above one by one, and fell silent. Finally, another explosion occurred. The island collapses, the sea pours back. Everything is exactly the same as before. But this time Ai Li didn't use the time gem, so they couldn't be revived like before. The dark clouds in the sky howled in pain under the blowing of the hurricane. The sea also became more turbulent, as if to swallow everything. The souls of more than 100 million people instantly appeared in the sky, and each soul had a strange look on its face. Can't see the face clearly, but it's incomparably terrifying. Ha ha ha, good job, I kind of like you. Mefisto laughed out loud when he saw this scene, more than 100 million souls. I don't know how long it will take if I ask him to collect them one by one. Although there are countless dead beings throughout the universe. Although he can use the avatar to collect souls. But he is not the only Mefisto in hell, everyone has their own territory. There are even many places that don't care about the boundaries. If you want to get the soul, you must rely on fighting. The most important thing is that no matter what position in the universe, there are their own gods, they are in charge of the soul. Mefisto also only has a few planets under his sole jurisdiction, and as long as there is no major war in those places, there may not be many people who die together in 1 year. On the other hand, Ai Li brought over 100 million in an instant. He solved his small goal of more than a year in one fell swoop. Not dying naturally, but being killed, full of resentment. This feels great. Suddenly at this time, the storm surged. A crack appeared in the air, slowly the space was torn apart. Ai Li looked with some interest, is this another 10 Mefisto lords? Is it hell too? The open space crack was suddenly grasped by 2 hands, one left and one right, and then exerted force towards the outside, as if wanting to increase the speed of the crack and actively tear it open. Satan, this is my soul. Seeing this scene, Mefisto turned pale and shouted ugly. It can be seen that the people in the crack were startled when they heard the movement, and after hesitation for a while, they continued to do so. Lee saw the whole picture of the other party. Some funny bald heads, some funny expressions and facial features on the face. There are wings hanging from his back, but unlike the rumored angel, his wings are black. And at the tip of these wings, there is this oil-like substance dripping down. The moment it fell into the sea water evaporated instantly and water vapor appeared. Then it just fell in the sea, until it reached the bottom of the sea. Hiss, it smells good. After Satan appeared, he took a deep breath in the air. Some souls visible to the naked eye were absorbed by him, and he enjoyed feeling these very much. Satan. Mefisto seems to be a bit jealous of the other party. Even if he absorbed the soul, Mefisto did not do anything. 0. Seeking flowers. Just staring at each other with an ugly face. Oh, Mefisto, what a coincidence. Satan seemed to have just seen him, greeted unexpectedly, and then looked at Lee. This person should be the one who killed these people, right? Interesting. Are you interested in working with me? Believe me, I pay more attention to commitment than others. Saying this, Satan gestured to Mefisto. The meaning is obvious. Compared with himself, this guy is very slippery and cannot be trusted. He has the soul that I want to exchange for. Lee replied. Oh, Satan was taken aback, his gaze was on the parchment in Mefisto's hand. Hey, you're laughing at your mother. Mefisto really wanted to curse, but unfortunately he didn't dare, because Satan's power is higher than him and his territory is bigger than him. We made a contract. These souls are exchanged by me. Poor Mefisto can only tell the truth and reason. Well, that's right. Satan nodded and turned to Lee again. Point 0. In this way, if I kill him, I will give you his soul again. How about leaving these to me? You can find me even after you die, and I will be your general. Satan. This time Mefisto really couldn't bear it anymore. This guy actually said to his face that he would kill himself. Although there is a gap in our strength, Satan. If we really fight, you may not be able to kill me in an instant. You will have trouble in the future. He spoke coldly and spoke from the heart, and the hatred on Mefisto's face was almost overflowing. Lee was also very surprised to see this scene. It seems that the situation in hell is not optimistic, and the hatred value of these people is not low. This Mefisto is hostile to Satan to such an extent. With such a powerful momentum to say such cowardly words. How did he get bullied in hell? Ha. Satan couldn't help laughing out loud, thinking it was very interesting. Laughing. His current appearance is like a person singing a one-man show. Seeing that no one is cooperating, he slowly stops. Then, goodbye. After speaking to the two, Satan walked away step by step. His pace is not fast, and his jumping are just like the kind of children's playing movements. Beep, la la. Accompanied by the random humming sound in his mouth, there was no cuteness on him, only weirdness remained. In a few seconds, he moved tens of meters to a distance of hundreds of meters with every step, and Satan, who was running and jumping, slowly disappeared. By the way, just a reminder, be careful not to lose money by stealing chickens. Satan also said after walking away. Mefisto snorted with a dark face, then looked at Lee. Don't pay attention to him, he thinks everyone is like him and likes to play tricks. Yeah, but he is a good person, and he will remind you. Lee replied with a smile. I was a little surprised in my heart. In fact, Satan is not bad, he has already left. Also a reminder to Mefisto to be careful. It's a pity that the other party misunderstood. Mefisto thought that Satan's last sentence was to remind himself. Chapter 65 Mefisto. It's just a toy. Thanks to the monthly pass of Dream Like Drunk. Advertise here. Now, it's your turn, can you hand over your soul? The entire Neon Island has been completely annihilated. From now on, there is no more neon on the earth. It will exist in people's memory in another form. The legendary country of A and B, the rumored hand of Hideo Kato, the hand of God, the strange record of the tram. These are like the deep sleep of Atlantis, they will only remind people to talk about them, and then as time goes by, no one will mention them again. According to the contract on the parchment, it's time for Mefisto to hand over Vanessa's souls. Hey. Mefisto didn't move, but smiled. What do you mean? Lee asked calmly. The contract says that these souls will be exchanged for the souls of those two people. Mefisto spoke proudly, picked up the parchment in his hand and opened it. He also pointed at the position he just wrote with his finger. But I didn't say, after the exchange, I will give it to you. Hey. When making a deal with the devil, never think that you can gain the upper hand. Ha. The proud Mefisto couldn't stop laughing, this time he made a lot of money. He came to work for himself for no reason, and, 970, gave him so many souls at once. This efficiency, what Ghost Rider and the like are weak. After laughing for a while, Mefisto frowned when he saw Lee on the opposite side with a blank expression and no panic at all. This is different from what he thought at first. Shouldn't the other party be annoyed for the first time, and then ask themselves impatiently? Anxiously red-faced and loudly reprimanded him for not obeying the rules, and then rushed up to shoot himself. How? This is your routine. Lee spoke to him disdainfully. No wonder you're still a minor character in hell. What did you say, asshole? You managed to piss me off. When Mefisto heard Lee's comments, he was instantly rage. As a devil, how could he not lose his temper? I used to look like a good guy, but that was just a disguise. The real Mefisto is an out-and-out demon who strikes at the slightest disagreement. Who in the world does not know the name of his Mefisto? This is the source of his confidence, but now that Li said so, his fig leaf was instantly lifted. Isn't it? A demon from hell. In fact, you are not famous for your strength, but for your so-called conspiracy. Compared to Satan, you are too weak, and you don't have the tolerance of a strong man. I just make traps that I think are clever in some small places, and then wait for the enemy to jump into them. Mefisto, to be honest, you don't deserve to be called the Lord of Hell with Satan and others. You are at best a low-level demon with good luck. Li sometimes feels that he is very good at speaking, and he is also very good at speaking. When provoking the other party, his tongue is very sharp, he never thought that he could make the other party worthless. The words that came out of his mouth almost pissed Mefisto to death. Bastard. Bastard. Damn guy, you will pay for your words. Let you understand what the consequences of messing with Hell Mefisto. It was the first time Mefisto was scolded to such an extent in person, his lungs almost exploded. Black gas flowed all over his body, and countless streams of smoke began to diffuse, enveloping his entire body. From the outside, I couldn't see what happened inside, I only knew that he started to roar, as if anger was spurting from his mouth. Puff. Hee hee, interesting, Li, maybe he can be a good partner. In a distant place, Satan is sitting on a cloud, holding a glass of red wine made of blood in his hand, watching the farce here. When he heard Li's evaluation of Mefisto, he laughed outright. If it doesn't work, just shout, I will help you, human beings. Satan's voice sounded from Li's ears, he had already seen this human very much. Li ignored the other party, he knew the price of Satan's attack. It is to make oneself a member of hell and become the subordinate of the other party. You will be killed by me. Suddenly, in the smoke in front of him, a thick middle-aged voice sounded, it sounded a bit majestic. But there is a big difference in appearance. There is only disgust on the opponent's body, and there is absolutely no majesty. The angry Mefisto completely opened the appearance of his own body. He couldn't stand Li's evaluation of her. That's right, he is indeed not strong, but that is also in the latitude of hell, and in the world, he is definitely a strong man. He is the oldest of several Mephistos, and he was definitely the top few in hell back then. He is the most cunning existence among the 7 original sins. He doesn't like to enhance his power but is good at lurking behind things and using all kinds of intrigue and magic to spread hatred. In the original hell, who would dare to disrespect him casually? Unless you are not afraid of being stabbed at any time by an existence you believe in. But everything changed when Satan came. That guy came to hell suddenly, his strength is beyond imagination. He changed his name from Lucifer to Satan, not knowing that hell was his domain. The 1510th string of ultimate universe is integrated here. Although Satan disdains to do things like hegemony, his arrival represents that Mefisto is no longer the top powerhouse in hell. Everyone will put him and Satan together for discussion, and every evaluation will belittle him and elevate Satan. Every hell lord knows, don't compare him to Satan in front of Mefisto. And Li, now actually doing this. And belittle him to nothing. He is going to kill each other. In the smoke, Mephisto's appearance completely changed. 2 huge amounts of sickles, like the arms of a praying mantis thrown directly from the smoke. The head appeared little by little, 2 huge amounts of rhinoceros horns showed his sharpness, and above the top of the head, there were 2 blade horns like tentacles. Below is a terrifying and disgusting head, which makes people turn their heads subconsciously, do not want to look at each other. The position on the chest is the cohesion of flesh and blood. The hands are like the old people after 100 years old, there is no flesh at all, only the skin sticks to the bones, and then. There is no lower body from the buttocks, only a tail flicks, which looks a bit like a scorpion. The 2 legs are the 2 huge sickles just now. Countless chains wrapped around his body, revealing the majesty of the opponent's hell. How to say? Li's only comment is disgusting and ugly. A Mephisto makes himself like this, maybe the other party's aesthetic is like this. Don't get me wrong, that's what he likes. Satan's voice sounded again. Li nodded, it turned out to be Special Zero. Then he was taken aback, this Satan is a bit interesting, he can guess what he is thinking. What is the special ability? See through people's hearts. Or does it mean that he has a high IQ and can guess the way to deal with it based on the situation and facial expressions? As soon as he got angry, Li saw Satan's position, which was far away from here. Even if the opponent sneaks up on him, Li can still fight back. There is no danger at this distance. Now, it's time for you to pay the price. Mortal. After showing his true self, Mefisto hissed at Li. The sound made Li want to scratch his ears, it was so bluffing. It's harsh and ugly, and it's annoying to look the same as you. Li said. Mefisto, are you polite, asshole? Mefisto cursed after hearing Li's comment, and was just about to start. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. The surrounding scenery recedes quickly, everything in the ocean is gone. Before he could react, it had already fallen to the ground, creating a deep hole. Cough cough. Acid water gushed out of his stomach. Mefisto got up and posed, looking around warily. Damn, why so fast? Mefisto couldn't help complaining, he didn't even see the opponent's action just now. The guy who wins by speed. Where are you looking? Li asked him standing in the air. Bastard. Mefisto raised his head suddenly, looked at Li directly above and cursed. Puff. Another kick. Mefisto once again felt the power just now. The difference is that this time Li didn't fly him out, but stepped on the ground directly. Duh. Mefisto also wants to say his mantra to curse. It can be seen that Li's eyes are sharp, and he retracted the last word from the heart. Oriental Forbidden Zone, please leave. Just at this moment, countless people suddenly appeared from all around, all of them with weapons in their hands aimed at 4.8 them. Li turned his head and found that it was someone from the army. Seeing Li paying attention to them, the leading general swallowed. This guy's strength is too terrifying. I'm afraid only people from those special departments in the country can get in touch with him. But thinking of what the other party had done before, subconsciously put a thumbs up on his waist with his right hand. Well done, brother. Destroying the Neon Island in a single stroke made them very happy. We are not welcome here, let's move to another place. Li doesn't want to stay here for long. It is inappropriate to make something happen if the fight is not good, making this safe country unsafe. Kick out and kick Mefisto into the air. Then he turned his head and looked around, and after confirming his position, he shot out again suddenly. After a few seconds, another country suddenly saw a monster fall from the sky and land on the ground. After getting up, Mefisto waved his praying mantis arm unhappily, and several passers-by were killed by him in an instant. Ah, where did the monster come from? Help, Smecta. Mefisto frowned and looked at the surrounding scenery and language, and spoke unhappily. How did you end up in this disgusting place, like the guys here say I'm Lord Mefisto is theirs? The Nation of Stupidity. Chapter 66 The Collapsed Hell Lord, Ghost Rider Save Me. Advertise here. Let's go. It's safe now. After Li kicked Mefisto into the air, he followed suit and left. And these Eastern troops were relieved when they saw the departure. With their fighting power, if they fight here, I'm afraid. It's a pity that in the future, one person will never be able to watch. One of them opened his mouth, and the others nodded one after another. Their life in the army is not easy, so it's okay now. Huh, the officer frowned, and everyone immediately stood up. It seems that you still have plenty of energy, everyone, run back to the base. It's really King bad luck, it's actually here. Mefisto looked at the surrounding humans a little displeased, and never expected to get a stick. The Neon Country is disgusting, but they have their own advantages, such as some movies, which he can enjoy in hell. But these great people, even if they go to hell, they still want to make connections. Some people even begged him for mercy, saying that Mefisto, as their ancestor, should help them after death. Why didn't he know that he still had Banksy blood? Seeing their souls in anger, they threw them directly to the lowest level to work. You are quite elegant. The figure of Li appeared and directly kicked Mephisto's head. Mefisto flew out and hit the house directly. Starting here in 08, Li has nothing to worry about. Bang bang. Mefisto, who walked out of the house step by step, looked a little miserable, with scars all over his body. The black blood flowed to the ground, and the ground was instantly corroded by it. Smoke appeared in the corroded place. The smoke is like chemical poisonous gas. As long as it spreads around, the human beings who inhale it instantly become Trask-like existences. It looks like Sadako. Li, don't think I'm easy to bully. Mefisto yelled at him. From the beginning to the present, he has always been in the stage of being beaten. No way, he can't see the opponent's movements. Li's speed seems to have surpassed his cognition. Obviously, the strength of each strike is so strong that it can break the mountain with a single punch. But his speed didn't slow down because of the strength of the punch. It's also reached a level that ordinary people can't understand. Does he have no shortcomings? I am Mefisto. Could he, hell Mefisto, lose to a human? Then you show your strength. Don't make me feel boring, don't watch you hell. As soon as Li finished speaking, he shot again. Dark. Mefisto opened his arms, and thick smoke radiated from his body, covering all surroundings directly. The black world is under his control, and everything has entered the darkness. Now this is my country. Your eyes can't see, your ears can't hear. Only I will be here. Boom. Unexpectedly, when Mefisto was still talking about the power of his dark kingdom, Li has rushed to his side and punched out directly. I saw you. Mefisto smiled, and the knife arm instantly blocked Li's movement. Then the other knife arm cut across, trying to cut off Li in half. Collapse. But when his blow hit Li's waist, Li raised his hand casually, blocking his attack with his arm. What? How is it possible? Mefisto was shocked, his attack was actually blocked, and it was the opponent's body. No, it must be a coincidence, here the other party cannot see his actions. Do not make jokes. Angry Festo attacked again, the two arms kept sweeping and stabbing, and under the right linkage, the blade of the sickle even glowed coldly. But here, only he can see this cold light. Li felt the attack, and just moved his body at will, sideways left and right, and easily avoided Mephisto's attack. Mephisto's strength is too weak, and his speed is too weak. And, Li doesn't need to see with the naked eye, the dark world here is nothing special to him. It is enough to perceive the existence of the other party. He didn't even activate the state of free mind, and he could dodge it with his own movements. Come on, you're taking the fun out of me. Li didn't feel the joy of fighting on Mefisto. He is very boring, he is obviously a Mephisto from hell, although he is good at conspiracy and calculation, but his combat power. Boring, under the urging of S-cells, his desire to fight is extremely great. Like to challenge the strong, like to solve problems by fighting. The enemies that can be encountered are not at the same level at all. Boom. Li raises his hand, chi is displayed on his body. The golden chi is the symbol of the Super Saiyan state. With his current combat strength, he can block most of the attacks with just this chi, and it is impossible to get close to him at all. After blocking Mephisto's attack with one punch, Li punched him in the stomach suddenly. Puff. Belly sunken, acid water spitting, and eyeballs oozing out, Mephisto felt like his body wasn't his anymore. Li turned sideways to avoid the acid water he spit out. Followed by another punch. Boom. Huge amounts of strength knock Mephisto into the air. The dark gas didn't cover much area, and his blow sent Mephisto flying thousands of meters directly. Mephisto, which fell on the ground and formed a huge crater, has not yet reacted. Li stood above him. With 5 fingers moving in unison, countless air bombs attack instantly. Boom, boom. The crazy falling of the energy bomb shook the ground, and the terrifying attack was like a rainstorm, hitting his surroundings and body. The continuous bombardment of Qigong bombs was incomparably rampant, as if torrential, huge amounts of sound roaring. Thick smoke appeared, and no sound could even be heard below. Li stopped, waiting for the smoke to clear. There are many examples of the statement that there is no harm in smoking, but it is aimed at the protagonist. Mephisto is definitely not a protagonist, he can only be regarded as a supporting role. Sure enough, when the smoke cleared, Mephisto, although not dead, was extremely miserable. His whole body was covered with wounds, the arrogant pair of saber arms had been completely smashed, and the horns on his head no longer existed. And the tail was broken in half. Damn, human. Mephisto was lying on the ground, his eyes were a little dazed, and he kept cursing. For this list, he came here in person. If he knew there was a crisis, he would have sent a thought to go here. Now I'm in trouble, maybe there's going to be a big problem. The mouth is still not clean after this, you are really not afraid that I will kill you. Li floated a little closer, looked at him and said. Hee ha 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 ha, do you think you are sure to win? Ha ha ha, humans, you will pay for your arrogance. Li frowned, it didn't look like there was a reversal of the situation. Feel it, is it possible that the body will start to suffer? Seeing him frowning, Mephisto on the ground smiled. Slowly climbed up from the ground, and then the body floated towards the sky. His bleak appearance has long since changed beyond recognition, and even when he laughs, he can only make out his voice. The tattered face made his expression non-existent. The empty feeling of hunger, the feeling of anger, the struggle of desire, the body began to ache, and every part of the body was screaming. 103 Pain, pain. You think you win if you hit me. Ha ha ha, feel the pain from hell. I, Mephisto, one of the 7 deadly sins, curse everything about you. Seeing Mephisto laughing wantonly, Li was a little puzzled. I seem to be. No reaction at all, why is he so happy all of a sudden? It is true that a little strange energy flowed into his body when he touched Mephisto with his hands. But how could the angry perception not find out? At the first moment, he isolated it with air, and then began to analyze this thing during the battle. In the end, it was found that the danger was not great, and there was an unseen power factor. He actively absorbed it into the body, and was decomposed and swallowed by the S cells long ago. Could it be that this is his trump card? Mephisto was still laughing. According to the time, the flesh and blood of the other party's body was about to start falling, and finally only the bones remained. But Li didn't respond at all, and stood there intact. How is it possible? You haven't even weakened your breath at all. Mephisto was a little panicked. This is his biggest hole card. In his own battle, he wrapped his whole body with the power of dark divine power. He beats someone, and the other party is affected. When he was beaten and touched his own body, the other party would also be imaged. But now, Li's appearance is obviously a calm appearance. Something is wrong with this guy, something must be wrong. Run. Mephisto guides the situation out of his last stronghold, afraid to stay any longer, ready to flee. When he set off, Li's movements also appeared, aiming at his position to gather energy. Can't die here. Panicked, Mephisto no longer cared about face, and immediately opened his mouth and shouted. Ghost Rider, come and save me. Chapter 67 Trading Satan, the Real God. Advertise here. Ghost Rider can't save him. Because I want to rush over with Ghost Rider's motorcycle. Unless he sticks his throttle hand straight into the gas tank. Wait, I'll give you my soul, let me go. Mephisto seemed to know that his shouting was useless, and hurriedly begged for mercy. Seeing this, Li did not move, waiting for his next step. Soon, Mephisto was in a hurry, and 2 souls were drawn out from a dark crack by him. The crack is not big, it is not a passage connected with hell, but an existence like an extremely small dimension. Used to bind the soul. Li was a little surprised to see this scene. The soul is also a spiritual body, but for a slightly weaker person. The spiritual body cannot maintain reason and wisdom, just like a walking corpse standing there motionless, recognizing people at will. When Li saw the souls of 2 people, the magic power in his hands immediately urged. A simple magic was used by Li, and the souls and spirits of the 2 were instantly absorbed. Now, can I go? Mephisto lowered his head and asked timidly. No one could connect him with the mighty demon lord just now. Li looked down at him, the sun was overcast. Immediately, he raised his right hand, and a terrifying Qigong bomb began to condense. The powerful force even imaged everything around, and the hurricane frantically roared past. Wait, you took the soul, what are you going to do? I never said I would let you go, and you are not a devil. Why didn't you sign a contract with me? You are too careless. Li smiled at him and casually opened his mouth. The Qigong bomb in his hand was shot directly, aiming at Mefisto on the ground. Can't dodge at all, the speed is extremely fast, and the power is also great. In the blink of an eye, Mephisto's figure disappeared into the raging flames, and the explosion turned this place into nothingness. When the flames and smoke cleared, Festo was nowhere to be seen. Li, who was just about to leave, suddenly saw the opponent's position. There was a black existence floating. The next second seems to disappear from here and run away. With a movement of his body, Li stood at the position of Mephisto in the blink of an eye, and raised his hand to hold it in his hand. A burst of energy. Feeling this thing, Li was a little surprised. It's not an item, it's not an artifact. It is a stream of energy, which contains the power of Mefisto when he used the curse just now. It is also mixed with strange power, which is a bit similar to Asgard's divine power, but it is far from being so pure. This is the power of hell. At this moment, Satan's voice sounded from behind. The moment the other party appeared, his eyes fell on Li's hands. A flash of greed appeared, but he took it back the next moment, as if he had no interest at all. What's the use? Li asked with a question. The authority of hell, if you can successfully control it, you will be able to lead to hell in the world. Satan walked around casually, his eyes fell on authority for a while, and Li for a while. When he looked at Li, he was a little curious and a little appreciative. But more is to be vigilant and careful. After all, even Satan will not ignore the power displayed by the other party. In addition, you can also get his territory in hell. Definitely, this territory will definitely be plundered by other hell lords, and there may be only F left when you go. A square meter. Building a toilet should be enough. Li understood what he meant, and then became a little interested. Then what is the divine power contained in this thing? Destruction, plague, aging and corrosion. It's a curse. Satan was a little surprised that Li actually knew the details of the divine power. Only those who have mastered the divine power can tell others about it. How can a person on Earth know this? Mephisto's power is the power of the curse, and definitely his curse is not the first batch of right, you understand. Definitely can, as if. Li thought for a while, and a person came to mind. It's like Thor in Asgard, and Zeus, lightning. Yes. After Li heard the confirmation, the magic power in his hand was slightly reversed, and a simple teleportation magic was activated. After sealing the hell authority of the original owner Mefisto, he threw it directly to the opposite side. Devour it. Sarah was a little curious. No need, I have no interest in the power of a curse. Interesting human being, I'm getting more and more curious about you. The two didn't do it because they had no reason to do it. It is indeed Li's subconscious to fight against powerful people, but this does not mean that he has nothing to do and takes the initiative to find the other party to fight. He also needs to rush back to revive Vanessa and the others. As for Satan, I'm sorry, Satan really doesn't care too much about this curse authority, and greed is only because of being in hell for a long time, subconsciously wanting various things. His training system is different from that of Mefisto and other hell lords. Absorbing this authority will do him no good. Here, Satan looked around. Because of the battle between Li and Mefisto, this place has been dilapidated. The country of Banxi is not very big, how much territory can there be in a tiny place? Their battles were directly destroyed, with countless casualties. Coupled with Li's last Qigong wave, it's not bad that it didn't destroy the whole place. Leftover. The soul I want is useless, I'll give it to you. Li gave it a favor directly. Satan glanced at Li with interest. Useless. He doesn't believe it. He has already seen that Li's strength is not simple, and may even be stronger than him. It's just that the fighting methods of the two sides are different, and the opponent has no divine power. So more often people will mistakenly think that the strength of the opponent is weak. More importantly, he saw the abnormality in Li. Strong mental power, strong physical body, extremely fast speed, perfect control of magic, and broad knowledge. On the opponent, Satan can't even see his shortcomings. In human parlance, this guy is a hexagonal warrior. And such a person is not interested in authority, Satan can only think of one possibility. This guy, you have to create your own divine power. He glanced at Li with deep meaning, he understood that the ambition of dealing with it was more than that. If you want to create your own divine power, the improvement of your spiritual power must be indispensable. And these souls are the best nourishment. But Li said, useless. He wanted to give himself a favor, but Satan knew that if he took it down, he might pay more in the future. This point, he has long realized in God. Then I will accept it, and you can tell me what you want in the future. As for the neon side, how about this, I'll give you something too. After Satan finished speaking, he stretched out one hand and swiped directly. The space was torn apart by him, and a trace appeared. He reached in with one hand and took out a scroll, and the other party threw it to Li casually. This is. After Li took it, he looked into it unexpectedly, but the powerful divine power was sealed on it, which seemed quite powerful. Moreover, he also discovered that Satan's move was not only to give him something, but also meant to show off his power and show his strength. The tearing space just now can be done not only by being connected with the latitude of hell. The power of this guy is not simple. It's no wonder that after arriving in hell, he can directly snatch the position of the Lord of Hell. You'll need it. After Satan finished speaking, he turned around and waved, and it didn't take long to get all these souls into his pocket. Then, see you next time, funny Lee. The strange tone is very incongruous in the other party's mouth, but it has a strange magic power, making people feel that he should be like this. The same action as before, just run and jump and leave with one foot. At the moment of reaching the distance, he suddenly spread his wings, get Qian Zhao. The 12 black wings of angel spread out, and the spreading black air seems to occupy the sky. The black liquid dripping from the wings seems to burn everything. With one wave, Satan flies away instantly at a speed invisible to the naked eye. This speed is no weaker than that of Saiyans. Watching the other party leave, Lee opened the scroll again and looked over. Really, what a big surprise. Satan, this gift of yours is interesting. Do you want to trick me, or do you really want to help me? With a movement of his figure, Lee jumped up, the ground shattered and stretched for a kilometer, and after the huge crater sank 100 meters, his figure also stood in the sky and flew over the neon sky. At the moment, this place seems to be hell on earth. Although the sea flooded back and completely buried the neon lights, sinking into the bottom of the sea just like the world of Atlantis. But there are still countless ghosts wandering above, and most of them can even be seen with the naked eye. Looking carefully, some souls roared and shuttled towards other places, trying to devour some weak souls. Try it, this thing should be useful, by the way. I also want to see how powerful the real God is. Lee opened the scroll and secretly wrote down the spell on it. Chapter 68 Meeting the Goddess of Death, thanks to the 18,873. Monthly ticket. Advertise here. What the hell is this? This guy's strength, is there something wrong? The SHIELD secret base of Sokovia is actually the research base of Hydra now. Baron Strucker looked at the blacked-out monitor with a dazed expression. The picture had stopped for a long time, but he still couldn't come back to his senses. The impact was too great, and he needed to slow down. What if such a guy targets me? Damn it, what kind of intelligence source is Pierce? This is called stronger. Anxious, he couldn't help wandering in his office. Where is the previous strategizing, as if everything is under control? Strucker, who is calm, uses wisdom to solve everything, and relies on research and means to become a senior executive of Hydra, now only feels that his worldview has been subverted. Bang bang, can't help but clean everything on the table. He knew he was in big trouble this time. He feels like he is playing a sandbox game, when he is interested and feels like he is about to win. Suddenly the other party took out a gun and shot him, the flag bearer, to death. No matter what wisdom the opponent needs with this power, he can completely turn the table. No, you can't stay for long, you have to hide. The proper avoidance is not fear, but to reduce losses. There's still time, the other party just settled the handoff, so they are not sure about the existence of Hydra, and they don't know my location or identity. Let that guy Pierce hear the good news, this base can only be closed to the outside world for the time being. After thinking through a series of solutions, Baron Strucker sat down on the sofa. His whole body was covered in cold sweat, and he was paralyzed here at 750, only to feel a mess in his head. The opponent's strength surpasses the existence of schemes. The other party flipped the table, which is the most troublesome situation. Crossing out all the plans, he only left the last one. For Lee's family and girlfriend, etc., only this possibility can control the other party. But until the last step, he still didn't want to do it, because if something went wrong, it was very likely that this Lee would just go berserk. Pierce, this is what you call stakes. This is what you call being in control. Are you kidding us? Boom. At the round table of the World Security Council meeting, a leader directly threw the tablet in his hand at Alexander Pierce. The tablet passed through his body and fell to the ground. Pierce's figure blurred a few times, and he smiled awkwardly. Actually, it's not impossible. People have weaknesses. Although he is strong, he has many weaknesses. He cares about his family, he has a girlfriend, and he's human too. Everyone, this is not the first time we have come into contact with such a person. As long as we find his weakness, he will help us. And, Pierce showed confidence and spoke confidently. Since he is an Earthling, he has his own biases, and finding out his biases will allow him to choose power. Pierce, one of them said suddenly and calmly, looking at him. Huh, Pierce turned to look at him. Did you know that he just silenced Neon and destroyed about 80% of Banksy country? You idiot. After finishing speaking, the person directly cut off the video connection and ignored Alexander Pierce. Following his actions, the others also disconnected one by one. The last one takes an extra look at Pierce. You always treat him like an enemy. Pierce, you're so aggressive, so aggressive. Pierce, you have your own agenda, don't you? The signal was disconnected. Pierce threw the tablet on the sofa, sat at the desk and rubbed his temples. He will definitely treat each other as an enemy, because his mother's opponent is an enemy. I am Hydra, and I just let someone in my hand assassinate the adoptive mother and younger brother of the other party, and it succeeded. Shouldn't the other party think of him as an enemy? Shouldn't you think of a way to target him? Is it possible to stand up and shake hands with each other? Suddenly Pierce was taken aback. It's not impossible, everyone is from Earth, and he is still the highest level of SHIELD. As for Hydra's identity, no one knows if I don't say anything, as long as I make good use of my identity, the other party may even become my subordinate. Just like Nick Fury, this Alan's strength is a bit too much. How did you do it? Rhodes, you and Tony Stark are good friends. What's the situation with him? Also, can his steel armor do this? In the White House of the United States, a group of people are having a meeting. The president has been sitting on the stage without speaking. The few people below were analyzing what they had just seen, and they felt a little headache. Rod. Yes. Hearing the roll call, Rhodes reacted and responded, and then showed a complicated look. Steel battle suit to his words. Everyone looked at it, waiting for Rhodes' answer, and really hoped that he could say the words, definitely win. But the answer is definitely not this, but even if it is, hopeful. I can't think of the possibility of winning him. It's almost like scratching an itch. Rhodes was telling the truth, and lying at this time was meaningless. Everyone's face darkened. This answer is known in everyone's heart. Try to get the other party's DNA. The president suddenly said, interrupting everyone's thinking. From the looks of their eyes, everyone remembered the AICD plan that had been shelved. Unexpectedly, it was brought up again today. Perfect DNA Superman plan. General Ross also remembered this plan that has been stranded. The person who proposed this plan at the beginning is still in control of the Land Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Bureau. Unexpectedly, it was turned over again this time. Rhodes, you go and stare at Tony and try to let him continue his research. We need more powerful weapons. His toy battle suit, not enough. Toy battle suit. Rhodes is a little upset, but he just got a set and is very happy to use it, and the combat power is really powerful. But when he glanced at the photo of Lee on the wall, he sighed. Compared with the other party, he was indeed too weak. In fact, there is no need for Rhodes to stare. Tony has already entered the laboratory. He wants to make more powerful armor. Anti-Lee armor. But where to start? Tony Stark has a bit of a headache. The opponent surpasses his armor in every aspect. Speed, strength, defense, whatever damage. It seems that I have to update everything again. Over the silent neon island. The four gods from the depths of the universe, listen. It's a bit embarrassing. Does this spell need such a second class? Lee tried to chant the mantra on the scroll, and at the same time urged his own chi to mix with it. But just saying a few words was a bit embarrassing. This line is really an illusion of a second-year speech. Suppressing the strange feeling, Lee read again. It has to be said that it is a very terrifying thing to contact the four gods. Because you never know what they want to do next second. Is it eating you, or coming directly to destroy your world? Or a little interested in you and take you away? So, very few people would do this, but Lee chose to do it. What Satan gave him was the death of one of the gods. Not Zeus's dick-starved daughter Hela, but the real goddess of death. Definitely, a Satan would not say that he is actively looking for death. This is just a one-sided offering. When Lee goes to read the spell, he already knows what this thing does. Contact the goddess of death, and then supply these things to the other party. There are many possibilities for rewards. It is possible that you will directly receive a blessing, which has the gaze of death. She will make you progress in darkness, death, aging, etc., and it will be easier to gain power. It is also possible that you will gain a right not to be taken away by other hell Mephistos when you die. Instead, go directly to the latitude of the goddess of death and become the subordinate of the other party. Said to be a subordinate, may also be a slave. Definitely, this offering is a rule set by the other party. Things that can be solved without the goddess of death hearing it. The risk is naturally much lower. Satan gave this thing to himself, no accident, it should be to let himself get the first blessing. That is to receive the blessing of the dark side. That's not right. Although the goddess of death is death, she shouldn't belong to the dark side. Lee does not believe that death will not use any strange power, such as God's holy light. Thor symbolizes the majestic power of the thunder and lightning. Sure, she would be a god if she didn't. After he finished his incantation. Sure enough, a door appeared in front of him, which looked extremely terrifying. Some are about 100 meters high and over 100 meters wide. The door is double opened outwards, with countless imprints, scars of weapons, ancient murals, birth of the universe, and the war of the enchanting Mefisto civilization depicted on it. Obviously, the last time this position depicts the tragic image of hell, but if you look at it next second, it has become a banquet for the gods. It's so weird that people can't help but subconsciously feel chills behind when they see it. Chapter 69 Special Treatment of Death, Resurrection. Advertise here. At this glance, Lee thought of the Death God Gate in many film and television scenes. But there is absolutely nothing magical about this. Even Lee couldn't help but feel a little exaggerated after seeing it, and kept looking around. When the door appeared, those souls who were wandering did not dare to move for a moment. One by one, they all lay on the spot, as if they had encountered some kind of terrifying existence. Jigga. At this moment, the door slowly opened, and the extremely heavy posture was accompanied by sound effects. Lee looked up, and immediately retreated subconsciously. It turned out that when he saw it, suddenly an arm stretched out from within. The file size of the arm is very exaggerated. Only then did I understand why such a large door is made for this arm. It has a width of nearly 100 meters, and it can even pick up a mountain peak with 5 fingers spread out. Huge amounts of palms directly crossed the space, and those souls were all absorbed in the places they passed by. Countless souls seemed to be glued together by strong glue, unable to escape. Over 100 million souls originally some weak existences, after being devoured just now, there are still as many as 80 to 90 million left. But it was just a beck, and all these souls were absorbed, leaving no one behind. Lee wondered if the other party would take his soul away. Where is the blessing? Seeing that the arm has returned to the door, although the door is not closed, there is no next step. If the door was not still open, he would have suspected that the other party had reneged. Li spoke a little strangely. Give a blessing after the agreement is over, is this, stuck? After waiting for a while, when he was a little bored, there was a change. A light suddenly lit up inside the gate, and then a seemingly ordinary energy was sent out. Before Li could react, this energy directly traveled to Li's body. Li was shocked, he hadn't decided whether to buy this thing yet. Immediately checked it out, and was relieved to find that there was nothing wrong with it. It's just a mass of energy, with no will, no wisdom, and nothing weird. After getting the things, Li was about to leave, but found that the door was still open. What do you mean? Is there a second wave of rewards? Far beyond the distant dimensions, here are special latitudes, different from those latitudes in which Mefisto resides in the basic minor dimensional latitudes. It can be said that it is boundless, so vast that it seems that there are several universes in the main. In the center of the darkness, a huge amounts of platform is suspended here. On a seat made of stones in the center of the platform, a woman is leaning lazily on it. The clothes on the whole body are tattered, only a few key points are covered, and the rest are not covered at all. That's it, her figure is also extremely sexy. Coupled with the dark pure prison style, it makes people feel very temperamental and attracts everyone's attention. There are several powerful souls around her, and the strength of each soul is infinitely stronger than the previous Mefisto. Interesting. This body is very powerful. Death is enjoying the offering soul, although it is a mechanical procedure. But she still looks around from time to time, otherwise it would be too boring here. Looking hundreds of millions of miles away, her eyes saw the existence of Li. In an instant, she could clearly see the special features of Li's body, and Li's body also fascinated her. The strength of this body, even that guy Galactus can't compare to him. Thinking of the other party's strange physical strength, a blush appeared on Death's face. Then the next second, the flush subsides. Just now that beautiful appearance disappeared, and transformed into a giant-like existence. The seat under her also got bigger. I'm here waiting for you. After finishing speaking, Death pointed out a finger, and a stream of light shot out from her fingertips, heading straight for Li. Outside the door began to close slowly, at an extremely slow speed, and a stream of light rushed out. Li's complexion tightened, he felt a powerful force in this streamer. Subconsciously dodging sideways, Lu Guang passed in front of him, but to his surprise, the streamer could turn around. In the end, it still entered Li's body. The gaze of Death, she let me go to her country after death. Li feels the information conveyed in this streamer, and has a strange expression on his face. Did you fall in love with Death? This. Some embarrassment, to be noticed by Death, and then set a label for myself. Is this to treat yourself as the other party's harem? This is a universe based on the Marvel movie universe, so he knows that Thanos here does not contribute life to Death, but simply to lighten the burden on the universe. If Thanos, the universe who loves Death so much, would die of anger if he knew his situation. What the other party did made Li also stare at the door. The door has not been completely closed, as if his gaze was captured by the perception of Death. The limitation of distance disappears, and everything in front of me begins to enlarge. The vast land, the endless deep sea, the hot magma, and the vast forest all flashed by. Then there is a giantess sitting on the throne, looking at Li. Giant. Li was a little surprised, and subconsciously disliked it. Giants are too weird. As if feeling the dislike of Dao Li. This giant has turned into the image of a beautiful woman before, even wearing tattered black stockings on her long legs. Then Li's gaze fell, and he saw that the other party's leg was crossed over the other, and the little raised foot was not wearing a shoe, and the foot was exposed to the air. Jade feet. Li said something subconsciously, then immediately slapped himself and looked away. The door just closed. Li exhaled. What a temptation. Li, although you are not a lover, you can't be so hungry. 0. Seeking flowers. Everything is a jade foot, it will only hurt you. After calming down, Li's body trembled. The whole person returned from the Super Saiyan stage to the normal stage, the hair returned to black, and a pair of eyes became normal. The strength has declined, and the original 50 times the strength of the Super Saiyan stage is no longer there. But Li found that his strength in this normal state has actually improved. After entering the Super Saiyan, the normality has also been affected, that is. I don't know if the next step is the second stage of the Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan God. Li is more concerned about this stage. Li's chi began to get perception, and after finding the target, he teleported away from the original place. Interesting guy. Death recalled the interest in his eyes just now, and the other party escaped from his temptation. Her eyes are absolutely seductive, even the other great gods dare not say 100% resistance. And this man actually escaped. Recalling that when Li looked at me just now, those presumptuous eyes wandered over me. Can't help the whole person began to shake, and the bottom also started to rub. Yuzu. Interesting. I'm mad again. Eternal stayed in his own country, and suddenly felt a wave of fluctuation. This feeling is often felt, definitely it is often for eternity, it is more than billions of years. Li. Jin Bing saw Li who appeared in a flash and rushed to meet him. It's done. Li smiled, then instantly walked towards the bedroom with Jin Bing. There are 2 beds in the room, one is Vanessa, the other is Richard. Under Jin Bin's expectant eyes, Ai cast magic and opened the passage. After the two souls were drawn out by him, they were slowly placed on their bodies. In the next second, Vanessa opened her eyes immediately. Vanessa. Jin Bing hurried forward and hugged her. After Ai watched for a while, they parted and embraced, and then looked at Richard strangely. He is still a little uncomfortable now. After all, our strength is a little stronger, and his words have not been systematically improved, and it will take a little longer. Hearing what he said, Jin Bin breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned his head to look at his wife Vanessa, and opened his hands to hug again. Unexpectedly, Vanessa didn't give him face at all, she rolled her eyes and said a word, then looked at Ai. Ai, thank you very much. Jin stood aside scratching the back of his head, giving up his position to Ai. He is not angry either, the awakening of his family is the happiest thing, and he has seen Ai's efforts. Looking at the embrace of the two, Jin Bing's face slowly became serious. He's about to start the next step of the plan, this time things can't be posted again. Wan is absolutely unacceptable. Chapter 70 Back in Time, the God of Saiyans. Advertise here. Ai, forget it, let's go. Vanessa looked at Ai and Jin Bing in front of her, and after hesitation for a while, she still wanted to persuade them. I don't know what Hydra is, but you also said that they are very powerful, and they have people everywhere. I can't be sure that a random passerby is Hydra, and so is a policeman. They are too powerful, if you go to trouble him, I'm afraid you will. When Vanessa fought in Ai, she was in a state of soul without body. She didn't know that just now, the son she adopted had just destroyed 2 countries. If she knew, she would never say such a thing. It is because of this that they are scared and hurt by the beating, so that they dare not show their heads. Jin Bing spoke at this time and bluntly said that he was on Ai's side. Hearing her husband's words, the corners of Vanessa's mouth twitched, and then she stared at her husband complainingly. Is this going to send your son to deep water? Ahem, I think it's better for you to explain to her. Ai found it meaningless to say so. Vanessa is worried about his safety, but she doesn't know her own strength. Daddy, 270, has no way to deal with Vanessa. In Wyjin, he is a big boss, an underground emperor, and no one dares to resist him if he says nothing. At home, he's a rake ear. No, it should be a character who loves his wife. Ai walked out of the room and went to another bedroom to see the condition of his younger brother Richard. He was still in a coma, and the nutrient solution was being injected to keep him safe. Unknowingly a few minutes later, there was movement from the next door. Ai listened carefully, then turned and left the room with a black face. Sure enough, Jin Bing's method of persuading Vanessa was still so simple and unpretentious, which made people helpless. When I arrived at the backyard, I lay on the deck chair directly, and the maid on the side immediately brought various fruits. After Ai waved them away, she fell into deep thought. Now my strength should be level single universe. No, if you simply compete in power, you may be able to survive the existence of a multi-universe, but Marvel seems to focus more on something like rules, which is different from the Saiyans in Dragon Ball. Countless thoughts swirl in his mind. Getting stronger is the keynote of this universe, and only getting stronger can have a greater speaking division. It's like today, if it's not for my own strength, the deal with Mefisto is a pile of shit. If the other party directly exploits the loophole, you have nothing to say. And with power, even Satan will talk to you for fun. The focus of the Saiyans is recklessness. From the combat power of the physical body to the top, their upper limit is the upper limit of the physical body. Even the free ultimate instinct learned by Kakarot is also a form of physical combat. Ai subconsciously took out the time gem. Green energy still surrounds. After controlling it into the eye of Agamotto, he put away the power of the time gem, confirming that he was not using the gem power tomb. With one hand stretched out to the side of the apple. Accelerate. A stream of air belonging to Ai emerged, and the apple slowly began to turn black, and then became rotten. Reverse. The apple changed again, returning to normal from just rotten, and returning to a normal apple. The scope of influence is still too small. Ai is a bit disappointed. If this scene is shown to those who have power, they will definitely be completely confused. But Ai is not satisfied at all, because this ability depends on who is compared. Ancient One uses time gem to predict the future, see the past, and even change the time in a certain area. Very powerful, few people can do it. But Ai is not studying Ancient One, he is studying Weiss. When he got the time gem, he thought of Angel Weiss. After all, the self-possessed ultimate method that I practiced was also based on what I contacted when Weiss taught Kakarot. Time will naturally think of each other. Angel Weiss, the existence of Dragon Ball in the middle and late stages, some people do not recognize that this stage is Dragon Ball, but a fan. But Ai didn't travel to Dragon Ball, it doesn't matter if you are a fan, what he cares about is the other party's thoughts and source of power. As long as you can comprehend, and then break through your comprehension, you can practice yourself. Angel Weiss has an ability that is time retrogression, she can reverse the time of a universe, up to 3 minutes. And the great priest above him also has this ability, but he has never used it, so he doesn't know the limit. Not a small area, but the entire universe of time. Just this point is enough to see how exaggerated Weiss's grasp of time is. So Ai started to make a move on this time. Looks like the speed force can reverse time too. Ai was startled suddenly, only thinking about Angel Weiss, but forgot that DC's speed force can also reverse time. But he seems to be traveling through time by himself, isn't it to reverse the time of the universe? Thinking about the picture in memory, Li became a little uncertain. But after thinking about it, I didn't care about it. The big deal is to wait until the research is over, and then study the speed force. Anyway, there is a heaven-defying understanding. As long as Li can figure out a little bit, he can continue to expand and continue to study. Now Li can control the time in a small space by himself without taking time gem. And this progress is advancing at a rapid pace. Open black lens bracket. You have mastered the time gem. You have preliminary control over the mysteries of time. You have an epiphany. You have comprehended the law of time. Close black lens bracket. Time law. For the power of time control, you can start to control time arbitrarily. When you play with time, time also plays with you. Close black lens bracket. Li's time law has already issued the effect, just continue to practice. However, the remark of the event law surprised Li a little. For the first time, there was a special advice. It seems that I will improve this time law in the future. Super Saiyan has also successfully broken through, and the number of S cells has reached a terrifying level. Second generation, third generation, and even fourth stage Super Saiyans. In fact, it is the evolution of the Super Saiyan. When the strength reaches a certain stage, you can obtain the corresponding strength. In the final analysis, it is still the improvement of S cells. The point is divine power. Li's expression became serious. This is more serious than his attitude towards time law. Because if the time law doesn't work, then don't practice. At worst, the strength will reach a certain level in the future. But in the Marvel universe, divine power is a very metaphysical thing. Having divine power can instantly change a person's strength drastically. Just like the original Jane Foster, who was originally an ordinary Earth woman, but because she got the supernatural power inexplicably after mastering Mjolnir, the power exploded in an instant, and she was able to fight to an extremely strong level. In Li's opinion, this is really a very unscientific thing. The only explanation is that the supernatural power attached to Mjolnir changed Jane's body. But when Jane lost Mjolnir, her cancer reappeared and could not be suppressed. Only by controlling Mjolnir can he prevent his illness from getting worse. Doesn't this mean that the divine power makes her stronger, and if she loses the divine power, she becomes an ordinary person? Without the price of divine power, Thor is a representative figure. Odin sealed his divine power, and it became an ordinary person. Only by breaking through Odin's restriction can he find his own power king. There are many people with divine power like this. Odin, Zeus, Hela, Hercules, Mefisto, and even Satan could all be the same. The structure and composition of divine power, why it can increase strength, and what is the source, all need to be analyzed. Li closed her eyes and took out the divine power that belonged to Asgard. These are the divine powers of Thor, Sif, and Asgard warriors. After trying to integrate, Li devoted himself to it. He wants to see the real power of this thing. Observe after analysis, integrate into your own body after observation, and then analyze again. Decomposed step by step, and finally integrated by Li's 5 cells. It will be a matter of course, even if there is no special change for the time being, the feedback brought to him by the S cells is also good news. Your S cells have integrated 4.7 divine power, which comes from the power of belief and inheritance, and the buds of power of law are cultivating S cells. Your S cells have undergone fusion. You have an epiphany. God's practice. Saiyan God training method. The training method for a real Saiyan to become a member of God can increase the strength of S cells and evolve S cells into God cells. This cultivation method requires powerful divine power as a source, in order to improve the S cells qualitatively. Sure enough, as I thought, the structure of divine power can directly improve a person's physique. But a lot of divine power. I need to get more divine power. Li turned his attention to the prerequisites of the Saiyan God practice. Divine power is the power of belief and inheritance, and it is also a variant of power of law. That is to say, as long as I understand the power of law, I can obtain divine power by myself. The power of God is the basic force of law in the universe.